The countdown to kickoff in Grey Cup 93 is complete. We've posed a lot of questions in the last 90 minutes, and now we're about to get the answers. And so for a description of the proceedings, let's go to the broadcast booth. And here again are Dan Kepley, James Curry, and Don Whitman.
Thank you, Scott. Hi again, everybody. When you play football on the prairies in late November, you roll the dice, and they definitely came up 7 today. Cal Murphy in his 4th Grey Cup appearance as a head coach, the 11th time in the last 16 years that Cal Murphy has been in the Grey Cup game. For Ron Lancaster, his first appearance as a coach. This is the 6th. He has been there 6 times as a player, winning twice, once with Ottawa and again with Saskatchewan. Sean Fleming preparing to kick off for the Edmonton Eskimos. And this 81st Grey Cup game is underway as Blaze Bryant waits for it at the 20. Good downfield coverage by the Eskimos as Bryant is upset at the 31-yard line by J.P. Izquierdo. Sammy Garza is making his 4th straight start as Winnipeg's quarterback. He has yet to lose. He has thrown for 6 touchdowns. 3 of his passes have been intercepted. Cal Murphy said one of his concerns early in the football game with Sammy Garza is that he didn't try and do too much himself. On first down, Garza is going to throw. He's airing it out deep. Looking for Alphen. Incomplete. Murphy and Rogers were back defending. Michael Richardson last week in the Eastern Final had his best performance of the year in the victory over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 3 of the Winnipeg receivers, Wilcox, Williams, and Alphen, went over 1,000 yards this year. And it is a big, experienced offensive line that Sammy Garza works behind. 2nd and 10, Winnipeg. The ball is at the Bomber 31. Garza dumps it off, intended for Richardson. The throw was a little high, and it's 2 and out for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
3rd down 10, Winnipeg.
Good situation that Edmonton would like to keep Sammy Garza in is being able to nullify his first down completions and the number of yardage that he can get, put him into a 2nd and long situation through the course of this game.
Bob Cameron was with Winnipeg in '84, one of 3 players with Winnipeg in that '84 championship. Chris Walby and Stan Mikowicz were the others. The veteran punter stands back at his own 17-yard line and launches a beauty. The Gizmo takes it back at the 23. He's trying to get to the outside, but he is going to lose yardage as he's down back at the 19. And that's one thing Winnipeg has done exceptionally well. Every time they have played the Gizmo, they have covered on 3rd down punts. A 56-yard kick, a loss of 5 on the return. There's a penalty flag in the play.
And Don, Blaze Bryant was standing right in the middle of that. In a game of this meaning for both teams, you don't want to get involved early in a flag war.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Winnipeg number 21 after the play, 1st down.
Cal Murphy, I think, might have some words for Blaze Bryant as he comes to the sidelines because it took place after the play.
An untimely penalty that's going to improve Edmonton's field position, and you just don't want them operating out towards midfield with this multitude of talent they have on offense.
Sammy Garza open by trying to go deep. What will Damon Allen try? He fakes inside. He also is trying to go deep, looking for the Gizmo. He can't catch it. He was battling Kim Phillips going down the sidelines.
Williams incomplete.
Kim Phillips is going to have his work cut out this afternoon defending against the speedy Henry Gizmo Williams. Damon Allen this year passed for 25 touchdowns. He now has a career total of 151, number 10 on the CFL's all-time list.
Don, you know, surprisingly, with all the numbers that the quarterbacks put up this year, Damon Allen ranks 2nd among CFL passes in efficiency rating.
And that's one of the key statistics Ron Lancaster always refers to. The quarterback draw with Damon Allen, and he's stopped by Vaughn Booker.
The Winnipeg front 7 exerting itself early in the ball game. Vaughn Booker, they need a big game from the big guy at defensive end, able to crash down from his right defensive end position and make the play.
Damon Allen likes to take it on himself. He's got an empty backfield, no backs in the back, spreads the linebackers out across the line of scrimmage, tries just to hit a seam, but Von Booker has excellent speed in pursuit, able to make the tackle.
Glenn Harper in punt formation for the Eskimos on third down.
So a similar situation for Edmonton. 2 and out as Glenn Harper stands at his 20-yard line. Pressure coming from Winnipeg, but he gets the kick away, and this too is a good one. It chases Boyko back to the 25, and good downfield coverage by the Eskimos. Boyko goes nowhere. What a versatile performer Alan Boyko has been this year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He has played as a punt returner, a kickoff returner, a wideout, a slot back, and as a safety. And at training camp, he left the team. He walked out.
Canadian Airlines is proud to be
Well, Don, he's such a sure-handed receiver, and they like to have him back there to make sure that they can guarantee themselves possession of a punt return. They would rather start with the field position than jeopardize trying to get a big return.
Winnipeg 1st and 10, the ball at the 30. Richardson's first carry of the ball game. Garza attempted to throw to him earlier, and he'll pick up about 4 yards, stopped by Benny Goods. The Eskimos rely on 6 defensive backs almost exclusively. Benny Goods and Tony Woods up front, and they will rotate with Jed Roberts. Hunter will drop back on occasion into a defensive back position to help out against the pass. But one of the keys with these 6 defensive backs is for Garza to find out where Don Wilson is. Sideline pattern to Gerald Wilcox. He's taken out of bounds, and it will be close to a first down.
Looked like he might have came up just a little bit short. But what Sammy Garza needs to do is throw those quick passes, allow his receivers to work on those quick outs. As you see Wilcox here, turns to the outside, no one's there. He's able to get squared up before Ruck and Hunter are able to come up, and Lyons are able to come up and drive him out of bounds.
Well, you can guarantee one thing, that big offensive line of Winnipeg is certainly going to give Sammy enough time to stand back there and be able to deliver the passes. He's not been noted to be able to throw the ball deep, as you had mentioned in the pregame show, James, but the thing that he can do now is build some confidence. The best thing that they can do, the best defense against Damon Allen right now, is to keep him off the field, pick up some first downs, keep the chains moving.
Well, it's 3rd and 1 Winnipeg, and the Bombers aren't going to gamble.
You know, an odd situation. Normally in the CFL, you go for it on a 3rd and 1, but I guess Cal feels at this point that he doesn't want to jeopardize and not get it and give Edmonton great field position.
Cal's probably thinking he wants Edmonton to work on a long field.
Well, you certainly want to back them up as far as you can. They have such good people that are potentially can score at any time, that the main thing you want to do is make them work for it. Don't give them anything easy.
Henry Williams, 21 career punt returns for touchdowns. He has had more called back than the next closest man in the punt return category has scored. He only needs 1 or 2 blocks, but it doesn't happen for the Gizmo. He's stopped at the 25. 11:43 is the time remaining in a still scoreless opening quarter.
Services today.
We're nicely underway in the first half of Grey Cup 93, the 81st championship game for the trophy. No score yet, and in the broadcast booth today, there is David Archer, Sacramento quarterback, one of the best pure passers in the game, working on the network radio broadcast of this Grey Cup championship. And Don, you know he'd love to be out there throwing the ball.
Yes, he would, and Sacramento fans who are watching the Grey Cup game today would love to see him out there throwing the ball. One of 4 quarterbacks this year who passed for better than 5,000 yards. Had Matt Dunnigan not been hurt, he too would have almost certainly gone over the 5,000-yard mark. Handoff inside, and the Winnipeg defense reacts accordingly to Lucius Floyd, limiting his advance to just a couple of yards. Lucius Floyd, since joining the team for Edmonton's victory early in September against the Calgary Stampeders, has been a most prominent part of the offense. Only one 1,000-yard receiver, that was Eddie Brown. And like Winnipeg, this too is an experienced offensive line. 2nd and 7, Edmonton. Quickly for Eddie Brown, he breaks 1 tackle. Brown has the speed, he could go. Kim Phillips catches him. The ball comes loose. It's still loose. Winnipeg has got it.
Paul Randolph came up with the big fumble recovery, hustling downfield from his outside linebacker position.
Oh, I I think Ron Lancaster may be a little unhappy there. A little showboating on the part of Eddie Brown cost him.
Eddie Brown started celebrating quite a bit earlier. Just an easy, quick slant pattern, and he's got some of the best hands in the world, but then he's got tremendous speed. He breaks away, and he's going to celebrate, but he doesn't take a look at Kim Phillips, who comes and strips him from the backside and causes a big fumble.
Well, he was
excellent hustle.
He was directing traffic at Christensen, trying to get a block on Evans as he was coming across and didn't see Phillips.
David Williams makes the catch, and Williams is wrapped up immediately. Damian Lyons was the first to make contact with him.
Well, Sammy Garza must continue to stretch this Edmonton defense with the 6 defensive backs out on the field, utilize his wideouts, David Williams, Alfred Jackson. You see Williams working one-on-one against Lyons, working back towards his quarterback, making the reception, covering up the football at the end, not to lose it.
2nd and 2, Winnipeg. Ron Lancaster thought he could get Eddie Brown involved deep early in the ball game, and it looked as though Brown might have gone all the way for a touchdown had it not been for Kim Phillips. And this is Michael Richardson, the leading rusher in the CFL, picking up a Winnipeg first down before being stopped by Benny Goods.
Number 40 for the Eskimos.
Don looked for the Bombers to try to beat the Eskimos deep once again. Earlier before this game, one of the players told me they do not think that Glenn Rogers Jr., the rookie, can handle the 2 Geralds, Alphen and Wilcox. They're going to go after the inside defensive backs deep to stretch the defense.
Well, the feeling was that they could go down the seam deep with the 2 slots, but this play is a swing pass to Michael Richardson. He's got another Winnipeg first down.
A very effective and safe play for Sammy Garza. You get Michael Richardson circling out of the backfield, out in the flat to the right, and let him dump off to him.
But one thing you do here is that all of a sudden those real deep threats at the inside slots take everybody down, and then all of a sudden the zone is free. So all he has to do is dump it off to Richardson. He's got plenty of space, 10 or 15 yards before the linebackers and the defensive backs are able to react back up to him. He'll have very good success if that play continues.
And it really slows down that pass rush.
The pump fake deep down the sidelines, and overthrown was David Williams. He was wide open. He had maneuvered behind the defensive back, and Sammy Garza led him just a little too much.
A little over the head of Williams. He had gotten behind Lyons, but there where it came from the previous short passes where he was able to freeze the secondary, the pump fake froze him. Williams kept running. He was behind the coverage.
That pump fake worked so effectively last week against Calgary for Damon Allen.
Worked tremendously well when they're trying to take advantage of the corners that play on the outside shoulders of the wideouts, looking in through the wideouts to the quarterback. Then when he sees that pump fake, he's going to react to the out. The wideouts still run deep, as David Williams just did, and they had great success, as you said, Whit.
Intended for Alfred Jackson, it was over his head, and it's a good thing that throw was high, or Glenn Rogers moving up might have had an interception.
One of those sidearm throws when Sammy is throwing to that, on that deep out, and that ball carried down the nose of it, got up, flew over the head of his receiver, and very fortunate that the defensive back, you'll see it right here as he comes sidearm with the football as he steps in the pocket, and that ball just rises, and Sammy knows he threw a bad one.
But at the end of the play, here's what it is. Morris Lawler, the rookie, this is only his 2nd start at cornerback. Makes up, tries to come up for the pick. You better be able to make the pick, get a hand on the ball.
Bad snap. The ball sails over the head of Bob Cameron. It's blocked, and it's picked up by Lawler. Matt Pierce is after him, and it is taken out of bounds at the 2.
A tremendous break for Edmonton early in the ball game. A bad snap. We had talked about specialty team play.
So the Edmonton Eskimos are in scoring position with 8:01 remaining in the opening quarter. Bob Cameron never had a chance on his 3rd down punt attempt as Nick Benjamin's centering snap sailed high over his head.
When you look at Nick Benjamin here, the center, you normally want to get that tail a little lower, and he kept it up kind of high, and he didn't. And he let that ball float over the head. But watch Bruce Dixon coming in from the left, hustling from his down position. The reserve linebacker makes a great play on Bob Cameron to knock it down and let it be covered by Lawler heading towards the end zone.
1st and goal for the Eskimos. Hand off to Floyd, and Floyd is in. And Alfred Payton is going to draw a penalty flag. Floyd was attempting to celebrate in the end zone this way, and Payton came in and bumped him, and a penalty flag was thrown against the Winnipeg linebacker.
I got a question why the penalty was thrown. He came in and gave him a little nudge. I mean, anybody as a defensive player, it doesn't matter. You don't want to be taunted like that. You made a mistake out there. You got a block punt on you. And then in this case, you want to go out there. You don't need anybody celebrating and turning flips on you. So Alfred comes over, he just hits him. He's not being aggressive. He's going to talk to him a little bit.
He's really letting him know, hey, we got 60 minutes to play. Just one play is not going to make the difference in the ball game. And really, you look here on the search run right here. You get the ball to Floyd deep in the backfield. He reads the hole. He cuts back out to the right offensive tackle behind Morris.
Objectionable conduct. Winnipeg number 56. After the touchdown, penalty will be applied on the kickoff. Touchdown stand.
I really have to question that because, like you said, this is not a tennis match. This is a football game full of a lot of emotions. Players will do things. There was really no advantage gained on that particular play by either team. You let that go.
Sean Fleming attempting to add the extra point to the Lucius Floyd touchdown. And what a storybook year this has been for Lucius Floyd, coming off the practice roster of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's been a great year for Alfred Payton as well, leading the CFL in sacks. Floyd last week, Dan, right here at McMahon Stadium, under very difficult conditions, led the Eskimos to their upset victory over the Stampeders with running just like this.
The key running play that they have, Lucius Floyd, you give it to him deep, you let him find the crease, find the seam, and all he does is get in the end zone and does this kind of stuff.
Well, and what Alfred Payton did, I mean, the quarterback has more contact with the center when he goes up to take the snap than what Alfred Payton had on Lucius Floyd when he walked up to stop the post celebration in the end zone after the touchdown.
Well, it's very important anytime you get to this. The intensity is so high, the enthusiasm is so high. There's a sense that you have to be disciplined. You have to make. We've seen some lack of discipline on Eddie Brown earlier. We see it on Alfred Payton. We see a high snap and a block punt. All those things are the kind of things that you should not have take place in a football game.
Kickoff comes from the 40-yard line. Taken by Blaze Bryant, and Bryant is shut down in the sidelines. He fumbles, and the Eskimos have got it. Two huge turnovers in this opening quarter. The Eskimos capitalized on the first for a touchdown, and Ron Lancaster's crew will get another opportunity with the ball at the Winnipeg 26. Trent Brown recovered the ball.
A huge break for the specialty teams of the Eskimos. You'll see Bryant trying to fight for that extra yards, and the ball is stripped out, and Trent Bryant dives in and makes the recovery. That's what happens when you hustle sometimes just a little too much. Bryant was wrapped up, and he was fighting on the way to the ground. Great downfield coverage. Will Johnson was the player who was stripping him of the football.
First and 10 from the 26, pressure from the backside. Damon Allen escapes, and this is when he is very dangerous. Looking for the block to get a first down, and he'll be close. They have to contain Damon Allen. They can't let him get to the outside, Dan.
They run the ball so well inside, and as the defensive players are closing ends, they really want to close hard, get down inside, get involved in the play. Damon Allen keeps watching that constantly. So now they have to close hard, but also contain Damon Allen. You've got to attack him at the upfield shoulder and force him to come back inside. Once he gets out into this position here, he is as pure a runner as I have ever seen in this league.
Well, Ron Lancaster made a very good comment when he said, we are quite willing to take our chances when Damon goes one-on-one with Winnipeg's linebacker.
The kind of matchups that you like to get is sometimes you get a running back against a linebacker, you think that's a mismatch. When Edmonton is allowed and able to get Damon Allen one-on-one out with either a defensive end or an outside linebacker, they feel the advantages to Edmonton.
The measurement reveals an Edmonton first down. The ball is just outside the 16-yard line. Allen pump fakes, he'll run up the middle and get to about the 11-yard line. Stopped there by Vaughn Booker. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Mark Lee.
Well, Don, I can tell you that emotions have been running wild on this Blue Bomber bench. When Alfred Payton came off after that penalty in the end zone, Cal Murphy had to physically grab him to try to calm him down. Two or three players took a look at him. Matt Dunnigan was exchanging loud words with him, trying to calm him down. This whole team is somewhat unnerved by these two turnovers so far.
Well, I like Vaughn Booker's chances of controlling Alfred Payton better than Cal Murphy's. Here comes the pressure, the pass to the sidelines, and Jay Christensen is able to pull it in.
An uncanny ability of Matt Dunn. Damon Allen able to get rid of the ball, but watch Jay Christensen's concentration here. One hand on the ball, gets both on the football before he hits the turf. Just great effort right there going towards the football.
Well, Jay Christensen didn't think he'd be playing football this year, but partway through the season he got the emergency call as we see Greg Battle put Damon Allen on his back, and he has an opportunity to pick up a Grey Cup ring. Hand off to Lucius Floyd, and he continues battling but won't get beyond the 3-yard line.
Lucius Floyd coming into this game was one of only 2 running backs only running back in the last 10 years to pick up 2 100-yard games in the playoffs. You look at him here fighting off Von Booker as he gets to the outside, doing a tremendous job inside the red zone.
2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. 4:58 remaining in the opening quarter. The fake to Lucius Floyd. The throw into the end zone wide open is Jim Sandusky. Damon Allen faking inside to Floyd, rolling out. They have to honor the threat of him running, and Sandusky was wide open.
It's the identical play that we saw last week in the Western Final where he wheels out. Jay Christensen was the slot at that time. They're stacked. Now Sandusky comes. He becomes the slot. The halfback, Sampson, on that side, bit up and was going to go into the dive play that took place inside. It allows this veteran receiver, Sandusky, a wide open and easy catch.
Sandusky is a real student of the game. He was here watching the Labor Day contest when the Eskimos lost. He made notes, went back to Edmonton, and told Ron Lancaster there were certain plays he thought would work in future meetings.
Your breakup need.
The lights of Calgary shine brightly south of McMahon Stadium, and Jim Sandusky, a shining moment in the end zone, grabbing a Damon Allen throw for a touchdown as the Eskimos capitalize on a second Winnipeg turnover.
Exactly the play that we talked about at the beginning of the show, where Damon Allen comes out, he breaks out contain, he has the option to run if he's available. If in this case, a wide open Sandusky, he chooses to throw for a very easy touchdown.
Blaze Bryant is off the kickoff return team. Arrow Brown has replaced him. Boyko is back there. Boyko starts out from his own 14. Penalty flag in the play as Boyko tried to get to the outside, and this almost certainly will be an illegal block against Winnipeg.
Well, Darrell Sampson looked to be the culprit in that area after being victimized by Sandusky on that last touchdown play, and to come back and take a blocking penalty in the back is going to set Winnipeg's offense a little further back in their field of position.
Illegal block. Winnipeg number 30 on the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Right now, let's go down to the sidelines. Here's Chris Cuthbert.
Don's second Grey Cup touchdown of Jim Sandusky's career. He missed most of this season with a broken collarbone. There's speculation the collarbone is weak and could be rebroken. He's told us that he would clarify the injury after the game, but so far he's made a big impact on this one.
And he made a big impact last week in the Western Final. Garza throwing deep for Gerald Wilcox. It's intercepted by Dan Murphy. The third turnover of this opening quarter for the Edmonton Eskimos. They produced touchdowns off their first 2, and they get a third chance.
Dan Murphy, the second week in a row that he's come up with a tremendous interception. An interception last week in the end zone against Doug Flutie that stalled their bid for a touchdown, but then in this case, he covers just a tremendous amount of ground.
Sammy Garza right here is going to be throwing the ball this way. Dan Murphy, we don't have him in the picture, but he'll come over from center field, playing a great free safety as you expect from your free safeties, and come over and pick this one off, giving the up top help, and he picks it off and is able to return it back down to the 33-yard line.
Back to the live action. Damon Allen on first down. He dumps it off for Eddie Brown, and it's incomplete. Eddie Brown, in his other stops in the Canadian Football League, was used as a wideout. With the Eskimos, he's been used as a slot.
One of those catches you should have had, one of those alligator arm situations where you don't get it out there all the way, and Eddie could have easily brought that one in for a reception.
Eddie Brown has become a better receiver this year since joining up with Jim Sandusky. Sandusky is really like having a coach on the field.
15 touchdowns this year for Eddie Brown. Damon Allen in some trouble. He dumps it off short to Lucius Floyd, and he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all wrapped up by Greg Clark. Clark was a teammate of Greg Battle at Arizona State. That would have been a powerhouse combination at the linebacking position.
An excellent linebacking core. And even to go more in depth, Don, if you look at Clark, Lucius Floyd, Sammy Garza, they were all in the Seattle Seahawks kick training camp together a few years back. But Floyd was a safety valve, circling out, Clark covering the field, doing what the linebacker should do, run with the backs once they get out in the flat, making that open field tackle.
Sean Fleming will attempt a field goal from 41 yards out. Penalty flag in the play. The kick is good.
I think we'll get probably offside against Winnipeg, and I know that Coach Lancaster says, I will never take points off the board, so let's see if that'll hold true.
And that would be the proper call, Dan. If you have 3, keep the 3, because nothing is guaranteed after that point.
Well, offside. Winnipeg number 26. Penalty is declined. Field goal stands.
It would still leave him in a 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 8 situation, so I think that was an excellent call on Coach Lancaster's part.
2:53 remaining in the opening quarter. 17-0 the Eskimos lead. They have scored more points in this first quarter already than they did in the 2 meetings this season. On August 13th, Winnipeg won 53-11. On September 26th, the last time the Eskimos lost, by the way, Winnipeg won 52-14.
Well, Don, I think Cal Murphy said it best to us a week ago when he said you can't can up all those points that were scored early and bring them into today's game.
Winnipeg 1st and 10 from the 35. Garza steps up, but he's in trouble. Throws to David Williams. He's got a first down up to midfield. Tony Woods thought he had a shot at Sammy Garza, but Garza was able to unload, but he's hurt.
Sammy was really brought down hard by Tony Woods, who was relentless on his pass rush in pursuit of the young Winnipeg quarterback. He's working one-on-one inside. He was able to get free and get to Garza. David Williams working that slant route inside of Holland, goes up high for the football and brings it in for the first down.
And one of the good things that you see there is that Holland is the guy who takes a quick peek back inside to take a look and see where the quarterback is, and he loses containment with Damon.
Garza looking for Williams again. Williams reached up and it deflected off his fingertips.
Larry Rock with the deflection.
Well, the most points ever scored in the opening quarter in Grey Cup history, 18. Back in 1943, the Eskimos have 17, and they scored those 17 points in 4 minutes and 47 seconds as the result of 3 Winnipeg turnovers.
Second and 10 at their own 54.
Second and 10, the Bombers at their own 54. 140 remaining in the opening quarter. Garza, this time, is caught from behind and dropped for a loss. Leroy Blue got to the Winnipeg quarterback.
Those blitzing Winnipeg Edmonton linebackers coming from all over the field. Blue lining up out on the right, was able to draw a bead on him.
Blue's just had a tremendous year. Excellent speed, comes from the outside, has been able to cover in passes, but what he does, lines wide outside, gets good contain, and just shows tremendous speed and pursuit in getting at Sammy Garza. That's one of the assets that Winnipeg does not possess anymore since Matt Dunnigan, the ability to elude that kind of pressure.
Bob Cameron's third down punt. Urban Bowman, in charge of Winnipeg special teams, says that the Gizmo has 3 speeds, and you never want him to get into third gear, and the Bomber defensive unit didn't. Let's go to Scotto.
Okay, Don, I'm watching the game with our game day analysts, Doug Flutie and Dave Ritchie, and Doug says if Winnipeg wants to get back into this game, it's time to stop throwing and start running, Doug.
Yeah, that's against my personality, but I think they have to hammer the ball a little bit. Don Wilson is playing as a defensive back, not a linebacker, and they're a man short against the run, and Winnipeg should just make an effort to move the ball on the ground.
And get Michael Richardson into this game.
Get him involved.
Wednesday and Saturday.
Edmonton, 1st and 10. The ball at the 9-yard line.
Just inside their own 10.
We move into the final minute of the opening quarter. Damon Allen fakes, and Damon Allen is going to run. Stopped at the 20. He'll be close to an Edmonton first down.
Well, Damon at this point really has this Winnipeg defense off balance. Von Booker from defensive end position was the only one to recognize that Damon had the ball. You could see he came out there just lolling out on the flat. He really had no pressure on him.
Success running the ball inside with Lucius Floyd is what sets this up. Damon Allen does an excellent job of giving the fake hand in there. Everybody's pursuing to get after Lucius Floyd, and all he does is pull it out on his own sometimes. Lucius Floyd doesn't even know he's going to do it.
This time, Damon Allen gives the ball to Lucius Floyd, and he's stopped after a gain of about 2 yards with 14 seconds remaining in the quarter. That's interesting, Dan, and perhaps you could explain that a little more, how Damon makes the fake to Lucius, and Lucius isn't really sure whether he's going to get the ball.
One of the keys when Damon Allen comes out from underneath the center is going to hand it off, particularly going to his right. He's going to look at that defensive end, and he can see right through Lucius Floyd to the defensive end. If he's closing hard, rather than giving him the ball and allowing that tackle to be made, he'll give him the fake hand, pull the ball out, and then break containment and get outside and cause a lot of problems.
This should be the final play of the opening quarter. Damon Allen got outside, he dove forward, but he didn't get the first down. The ball came loose, but it was after he had hit the ground, and again there's a penalty flag, and Greg Battle and Greg Clark are involved. Alfred Payton is also there having words.
Greg Clark threw a forearm up into Damon Allen's face, and he's going to get a 15-yard penalty after the dead ball play.
I think you're right. He jumped up off the turf really fast, and the helmet's just hit. I'm telling you, this is
Winnipeg number 58 after the play. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Greg Battle making some pursuit, gets his foot, and he steps on Damon Allen's hand. I'm sure that's why Damon was upset. But when Damon jumped up, and then all of a sudden, there was Greg Clark, and they just bumped heads, and the flag was thrown immediately against Clark on objectionable conduct or unnecessary roughness.
So there will be one more play, but even more importantly for the Eskimos, they retain possession of the ball.
Well, costly penalties and turnovers have really hurt Winnipeg. Right here, you watch Clark when he gets up with the forearm right in his face.
Well, they have signaled the end of the opening quarter here at McMahon Stadium with the Eskimos in front by 17. At the start of the game, we saw the officials introduce Dave Ewell, the referee. There is a backup referee, and Ewell was injured on the last play, and it looks as though the backup, Ken Lazarek, is going to go to work.
It was a little warmer out there today, and he don't mind walking on the field. A week ago, he might have declined that opportunity.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the replay just a minute, because I want to show you why Clark got so upset. Let it run just a bit, all the way down to the very end where Damon Allen gets tackled, because I want you to watch his right knee as he's starting to get up. He gives a knee right into the back of Clark. Keep running it, keep running it. Just watch right here. Watch his right knee. There, he gives him a little push. And that's why Clark turned around and get the helmet up in the head and said, wait a minute. If you're going to call a flag on me, then he's the guy that gave me the push first.
But Dan, isn't it more often than not that the guy who retaliates is the one who's going to get the flag?
That's exactly.
Got to be a little more headsy in these situations.
Retaliation is where you're always going to get caught. It holds up in every sport that I know of.
First and 10, Edmonton. Allen fakes inside. He throws deep, intended for the gizmo, incomplete. I'm impressed with the speed of Kim Phillips running down the sidelines with the gizmo, and earlier when he caught Eddie Brown and stripped him of the ball.
Well, Kim has had a solid season playing that left cornerback position for the Bombers. You see him running stride for stride here with the Giz, and the Giz is giving it his all, and he is one of the more speedier players in the CFL.
Kim Phillips has done a fine job this season for Winnipeg, playing the left corner position. 5 interceptions on the year.
Out of North Texas State.
Second and 10. The ball is at the 41. 17-0. The Eskimos lead. This is a time count violation against the Eskimos. It almost looked as though Damon was trying to reposition Michael Souls, and that's the reason the play took so long. Stop.
Richie's got a comment about Damon Allen and how he's killing the Bombers by getting outside. Their worst fears, Dave, is being realized here because they're unable to contain him.
Absolutely. What's happening is that the linebacker on the outside is going inside, and that's putting the pressure on the end to go out and contain him. And I think they'll change that around and bring the linebackers more up. straight up and try to keep him in there. Right there again, you've got the end on the outside again.
Penalty flag downfield as the pass is completed to Eddie Brown.
Pass for about 16 yards.
Eddie Brown is very difficult to run with him all over the field, and Winnipeg is going to find a big problem with that with their halfbacks, with the speedy Eddie Brown chasing him from sideline to sideline. We're going to get an interference probably downfield.
That was Kim Phillips. Since I lost some of my hearings, I got pretty good at reading lips, so this is coming into real good use here.
Who everybody's looking at Dan when the penalty's called.
Exactly. I have just, my stock price just went up, I think.
Can I negotiate for you next year?
But as Sandusky goes by him, Kim Phillips, he grabs a little bit of cloth and pulls back. You'll find that Jim Sandusky in this league is one of the best pass route runners that there is.
1st and 10 from the 53. The handoff to Lucius Floyd, and he's wrapped up by Clark. And with help from Battle and Leon Hatziano, he is driven back.
Well, those two linebackers out of Arizona State who went to college together, playing professional football together, did a fine job of reading the trap play by Edmonton on the run and stepped up in the seams and made the play.
This Winnipeg team probably has some of the best team speed that I have ever seen. It will be very difficult to run the ball wide on them. If you're going to have some success, you've got to come right at them, attack them.
Got to come with the quick lead play, get between the seams.
2nd and 10. Dave Ewell, the starting referee, injured. He has been replaced by Ken Lazarek. Damon Allen, impressive as the starting quarterback for the Eskimos. He came off the bench to lead them to a Grey Cup win in '87, and Damon Allen runs for another Edmonton first down, sliding into the 44.
An uncanny ability to know where he is and the defensive players are on the field. Damon Allen had that sixth sense on that play, almost like he had eyes in the back of his head. You see him roll out here to his right. He pulls up, recognizes there's no escape, heads back to the sideline with his tremendous open field running ability, and he gets back into the center of the field to pick up a first down.
Allen has carried the ball 6 times for 44 yards so far today. 1st and 10 from the Winnipeg 45. Handoff to Lucius Floyd, and Floyd, looking for that seam, will pick up about 8 more.
You look at Greg Battle here right in the middle, the leader of the Winnipeg defense on a pursuit angle, trying to get outside to Floyd. He makes the tackle, but you cannot allow him 8-9 yards into the secondary before you bring him down.
12:05 remaining in the half. 17-0, the Eskimos lead. 2nd and 2, the ball at the Winnipeg 37. Damon Allen fumbles the exchange from center. He doesn't get his hand back on it. And it will be 3rd down. Edmonton. Damon Allen appears to be okay. He was just a little slow in getting to a sitting position. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Chris Cuthbert.
Don, Dave Ewell gone for the day. A disappointment for the head official today. He has ruptured a small muscle in his lower right leg, so he's done, and Ken Lazarek will finish up today as far as the head referee is concerned.
Well, it's good to see the officials even brought a spare this afternoon. You'll see Randolph make that Payton coming in. He's drilling Allen as he's going down trying to recover the football. Looked like he might have caught him on that left elbow, and Damon was smarting a little bit from that.
A 46-yard attempt for Sean Fleming. He was good on 10 out of 13 this year from between the 40 and the 49, and this one is wide. It goes through the end zone, however, for a single point as the Eskimos increase their lead to 18-0.
Calgary at night is the Crystal City. That's the line I used during the Olympics in 1988, and for Grey Cup 93, Calgary looks just as good. Eskimos lead 18-0, and after the game we'll present the Chrysler Outstanding Player of the Game award. The winner will receive the keys to a new Dodge Ram pickup, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he gets more than the keys. He also gets the truck. Damon Allen, Don, has already declared himself a candidate, I think.
Well, unless things change, Scott, I think that truck will be making a 200-mile trip north to Edmonton.
Scott, could you check and see if there's any gas in the tank?
Well, you can bet it. At no time will Coach Lancaster not let that team forget this is a 60-minute ball game.
The ball is scrimmaged from the point of the last scrimmage after the field goal attempt went through the end zone for a single point. 48,605 watching the action at McMahon Stadium. Additional seats added in the north end zone for this 81st Grey Cup game.
Well, Don, you have to take your hats off to the city of Calgary and Larry Rickman for the fine job that they've done in hosting the Grey Cup here this year. I mean, they've done everything you could ever ask in an entertainment fashion.
It's been a great show. The pass intended for Michael Richardson, a low throw, and Winnipeg's offense has just not been able to get it in gear so far today.
Well, Sammy Garza that time had some pressure on him trying to get the ball out in the flat to Richardson. You see him locked up one-on-one with Pless. Pless really locked up on him when you look at it there. And he's just not able to get the ball out to him, and he has to force him into a punting situation once again. Sammy Garza just hasn't had a chance to get comfortable in the pocket yet this evening.
For those who may not be familiar with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, in the two previous meetings against Edmonton, Matt Dunnigan was the starting quarterback. He went out of the lineup on October the 15th with a severed Achilles tendon. The Gizmo handles the third down punt, and there's a penalty flag on the play, and I think Winnipeg will definitely be called for encroaching upon that 5-yard area.
Tonight we've been seeing some spectacular aerial views of McMahon Stadium and the city of Calgary, and they're being provided by Still, manufacturers of the best in outdoor power equipment, and the helicopter is being piloted by Dave Thomason. Very steady job by Dave at the controls tonight. There's the chopper.
First down, Edmonton.
Well, we don't have to rely any longer on Dan's lip-reading ability because the referee's mic is working, and the penalty gives Edmonton a first down. The Eskimos at their own 38.
Well, I guess he can put his sunglasses back on now.
Again, my value is short-lived.
We love you, Kep.
You know, 4 or 5 minutes of all that fame, and I guess that was about it for me.
10:08 remaining in the half. Damon Allen throwing over the middle. Just a little too far for Michael Souls.
Michael Souls had creeped out of the backfield, got in that seam between those Winnipeg linebackers. They lost him because they're so concerned about Damon Allen's running ability, and that's what he will create. He'll get those backs up in the seam, and they'll be wide open this evening.
Michael Souls is doing just a tremendous job this year. You know, Edmonton lost Blake Marshall, one of their key running backs. Lucius Floyd comes in. A lot of the weight fell on Michael as far as being able to have to carry the mail, and now he's become a great blocker for these guys.
Alfred Payton gets to Damon Allen, and Alfred Payton had better be careful. He didn't want Lucius Floyd celebrating in the end zone and drew an unsportsmanlike penalty. He was doing a little celebrating and a little taunting in front of Damon Allen.
Well, Alfred took a gamble. You'll see him coming here inside. Michael Souls just could not get there quick enough, but great athletic ability by Alfred Payton to knock Damon Allen off his feet and drop him for the sack.
Michael Souls may have underestimated the speed of Alfred Payton at that time. He tried to line up outside and then come back on almost like a crackback block.
Penalty flag as Glenn Harper was decked. Dwayne Ford made the contact with Glenn Harper. Downfield, the ball is fumbled and recovered by the Eskimos.
So they'll decline the penalty. They'll take possession of the football at the 27-yard line. I mean, Winnipeg has done everything it could this first half of the game to shoot itself in the foot. Bruce Dixon came up with the recovery.
Cal Murphy can't believe.
Contact from the kicker. Winnipeg, number 37, declines. First down, Edmonton.
As I was saying, Cal Murphy, I'm sure, can't believe that his team is self-destructing this way in this opening half.
Dwayne Ford came right through and ran into the kicker Harper while he had his leg up. He was exposed, and he knocked him on the ground, and there came the flag.
Bruce Dixon, who blocked a Bob Cameron punt earlier, was on the spot to recover this fumble by Winnipeg, and the Eskimos have it 1st and 10. The ball is at the 26. Penalty flag as the pass goes to Eddie Brown. A gain of about 4 yards. Let's go down to the sidelines, and here's Mark Lee.
Well, Matt Dunnigan can't play this game, but he's serving a large role as Sammy Garza's filter. A lot of players over the last few weeks have been going to Sammy with ideas, trying to help him. Now, the Bombers have all those ideas going through Matt Dunnigan, then Matt has private conversations with Sammy. Right now, he's on the phone to the press box to offensive coordinator Mike Kelly, getting more tips, trying to get this Winnipeg offense on track. Don?
Even with all those personal conversations, when you've only had a little more than 7 minutes of time possession, it's very difficult to move your team.
You got a good look up there just quickly of the booth of the Edmonton Eskimos. On the left was Rich Stubler, the defensive coordinator. On the right was Adam Reeder, the offensive coordinator. The gentleman in the middle is Ron Lancaster Jr., the son of Coach Lancaster. He is the head coach of the University of Manitoba.
An offside call against Edmonton. First and 15 over the middle to Michael Souls. This is a play they tried unsuccessfully on their last possession, and Michael Souls takes the ball inside the Winnipeg 20.
Damon doing a tremendous job of mixing up his plays. He's carrying the ball himself. He's giving the ball inside to Lucius Floyd, throwing the ball, and then somebody that you all of a sudden you lose track of, and this is a guy named Michael Souls. He comes up, fakes the block, then releases upfield. Damon hits him with the hot pass.
And that's what happens when you're blitzing all the time. Those linebackers are behind the line of scrimmage, and those running backs can creep out, and no one's there to cover them.
Second and 3, a low throw intended for Eddie Brown, and the Eskimos will send in the field goal unit. You know, the Eskimos were intent on avenging the 1990 loss, the embarrassment 50-11 in the Grey Cup game to these same Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they're well on their way to doing just that.
A very tough pass there for Eddie Brown to pull in quite low, but he still had the ability, if he had just broke down, probably to cradle that one in. And now Edmonton is lining up for another field goal attempt.
This is a 26-yard field goal attempt for Sean Fleming.
26-yard field goal.
He missed his last try. This one is dead center. And the Eskimos now lead it 21-0, 7:49 left in the half.
Welcome back to the 81st Grey Cup in Calgary. The Edmonton Eskimos capitalizing on a lot of Winnipeg mistakes and lead 21-0. They're here from all over the world. This is Prince Albert of Monaco. He's a member of the Monaco bobsleigh team. They've got a race here tomorrow. He also competed for his country in the '88 Winter Olympics here. And Don, Dave Ritchie says, hey, I know that guy. I drove by his house once when we were on vacation in Monaco.
Well, Canada Olympic Park is not far from McMahon Stadium. And, you know, the conditions tonight are somewhat similar to what they were during the Olympics in '88. It was very mild in Calgary during the 1988 Olympics. As a matter of fact, I think on 3 days they reported that the temperature here was warmer than it was in Miami.
Well, you look here, Gerald Wilcox working outside on Hollins. The ball just gets away, and Hollins almost makes a one-handed interception there. Just at the end of that play, Sammy Garza needs to be more concentrated and spread the ball around to the different receivers.
Errol Martin into the ball game. Leroy Blue goes out. Second down, Winnipeg. David Williams on the receiving end of a throw for a first down at the 53. He made the catch in front of Damian Lyons.
David Williams looking to have a big game here in this Grey Cup. Running one-on-one against Lyons down the seam. He just runs a streak route and he breaks it off over the middle. Garza's right on target. He has a lot of strength in that arm, and he just guns it into David Williams as you see a nice tight spiral.
Good crisp pass, and what he did, they had number 20, Don Wilson, playing that little rover and that poach inside. He was able to get the ball there before Wilson could react.
Richardson trying to get to the outside, and it was Errol Martin who came over and limited his gain to about 4 yards.
One of Winnipeg's favorites right here, the lead play to get the ball to Richardson deep in the backfield and let him run. Martin was able to scrape from his inside linebacker position and get him low around the legs and limit it to a 4-yard gain.
Don Wilson made a key play coming up to force Richardson back inside, and Errol Martin was there to make the tackle. Garza's in trouble on second down. Throws complete for a first down to Alfred Jackson.
Sammy Garza really showing great composure right there for a young quarterback. Gets away from a couple of guys that are really coming after him very hard, and then he's able to find Jackson. Jackson's working, trying to get open. He sees his quarterback in trouble. Good, sure hands.
And that's the key, is that the receiver works back to the quarterback. Look at Sammy Garza being very nimble here in the pocket, avoiding all those rushes right there, showing that he has the mobility. He might not outrun a lot of people, but he'll make a lot of people miss.
Again, the Eskimos make changes defensively. Johnson comes in. Tony Woods goes out. Garza throws, and the pass is complete to Jackson. This will be another Winnipeg first down. He made the catch in front of Morris Lawler.
Sammy Garza is now taking control of this offense for the Blue Bombers. He is directing the players where he wanted them to go. Jackson running just that straight down route, breaks it off, come back in front of Lawler, the defensive back. But Sammy Garza right now is throwing darts. He is really delivering this football. He's getting a lot on it. You look at that tight spiral, and that's what you want from your quarterback.
Well, Cal Murphy was saying that Sammy Garza, prior to his rotator cuff surgery, was one of the hardest throwers of any quarterback he had the pleasure of working with. This is a deep end zone throw intended for Gerald Wilcox, incomplete. Glenn Rogers was able to get a hand on it.
Sammy tries to come out. He's going to sprint out and force the corner on the right-hand side and then throw back to the seam of Gerald Wilcox. Glenn Rogers Jr. is just laying back there in a deep zone, and should have had an interception on the play. Sammy Garza pivoted, turned, and threw without really taking a good look. You got to make a good hard fake when you come out of there. Try to pull that safety, pull those halfbacks over to give that slot enough time and enough chance to get down the seam, and maybe you can make that completion.
2nd and 10. The ball at the Edmonton 31. 4:42 remaining in this first half, with the Eskimos leading 21-0. Garza goes to the sidelines, and wide open is David Williams. Williams fights his way to the 2. The defensive back came up, attempting to make the interception.
I made mention of Morris Lawler early in the first quarter when he came underneath the receiver, tried to make an interception. The ball was overthrown. Very fortunate for Lawler and the Eskimos. This time he makes the pick on it. He makes the break. Doesn't get any cloth. Doesn't get a piece of the ball. And David Williams has been around this league a long time. He caught 84 passes for over 1,000 yards this year. He's been able to do it over and over again.
Richardson is stacked up and driven back as he tried to go inside. Solid defensive play by the Eskimos as Larry Ruck and Leroy Blue combined to drive Michael Richardson back. 3:39 remaining in the half.
A tremendous play, though, by Don Wilson coming off that corner on that hammer blitz. Don Wilson closed in from that left side. He met Richardson in the backfield. He bounced off, but the other guys made the tackle.
It gets very simple. It's a numbers game out here. When you've got Don Wilson as a defensive back, they really have 7 attackers, and Winnipeg has 6 blockers. Somebody's got to be free, and that free guy is responsible to make the tackle.
It's now 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
Players right there exerted themselves just a little bit, trying to serve that intimidation up. Good to see no call on the play.
Garza won't get a chance to throw. All sorts of pressure, and Willie Pless celebrates a quarterback sack.
But Benny Goods with the tremendous penetration from the initial point of attack, getting up in Sammy Garza's face, not allowing him to pull up outside. Willie Pless on that great pursuit from the backside just runs right through him and dropped him for a big loss on the play.
Pless comes in. He's 5'11", 210 out of Kansas.
Legal contact and an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 10. Half the distance to goal line. First down, Winnipeg.
Penalty flag on Damian Lyons, and that enables Winnipeg to take 3 more shots at putting it in the end zone.
Well, a tremendous break for Winnipeg in this instance where they had been sacked outside the 10-yard line. Now they have the ball, 1st and goal at the 3. Great opportunity. And they have to capitalize on it right here. They cannot afford to come out of this situation with less than a touchdown.
Well, this is where they started on their previous series before the Eskimos came up with 2 big defensive plays. So they get 3 more shots from the 3-yard line.
You got to put those big hogs up front to work. Let them reestablish a new line of scrimmage and run the football right here.
There's a delay as referee Ken Lazaruk comes over to the sidelines. I think he's going to confer with the official timekeeper. There may be a problem with the clock. 3:14 is the time showing, and they have readjusted the clock, putting 3 seconds back on the clock to now reveal 3:17 remaining in the half.
This is where you'll get to see a good surge by this huge offensive line of Winnipeg and getting this ball hopefully in the end zone with Richardson.
Garza's going to throw, incomplete. David Williams was covered by Glenn Rogers Jr.
I have to question that call right there, Don. You have an offensive line that averages 300 pounds plus, because they ate this afternoon, across the board, and you're throwing the ball, the quick slant to Williams, inside coverage by Rogers right there. He didn't make a play on Williams. You're entitled to that point on the field.
It will be 2nd and goal from the 3 with 3:02 remaining in the half when we return to McMahon Stadium. Sammy Garza took advantage of the timeout to go to the sidelines and confer with Matt Dunnigan. And as Mark Lee told us earlier, Dunnigan is deflecting a lot of the comments from his teammates, and Garza is getting his instructions from offensive coordinator Mike Kelly.
Got a good look on the replay there. Glenn Rogers Jr. helping out the rookie, Morris Lawler. When David Williams came in on that inside, they actually are doubling David.
The toss to Richardson, touchdown! Back at the Walker Theater in Winnipeg haven't had a great deal to cheer about until now.
Well, a speed toss on this play right here. You get Garza coming out from behind center. He fakes the ball into the belly of Chris Johnstone. He pitches it out to Richardson as he's coming around the corner, and Winnipeg is on the board with their first major of the evening.
Richardson, despite being the leading rusher for the last 2 years in the CFL, has only scored 7 rushing touchdowns. And with this touchdown, the Bombers have narrowed the deficit to 14 points. Michael Richardson missed half a dozen games this year because of injury, but still ran for 925 yards. And from 3 yards out, Dan, he put it in the end zone for Winnipeg's first score of this 81st Grey Cup game.
Good play. Look at here. If this is Richardson comes this way, he's going to counter out as Sammy Garza on the option. A good close by the defensive end, that's Leroy Blue, allows this play to take place. All it is just an easy pitch back to Richardson. He walks into the end zone.
Troy Westwood preparing to kick off. Lucius Floyd and the Gizmo are awaiting the kick.
Go get it, go get it, go get it!
Lucius Floyd goes back to his 11-yard line. He's upset with a good tackle by Brendan Rogers, who has led Winnipeg on special teams all season.
Well, Brendan Rogers does a tremendous job of getting downfield and making that open field tackle.
Winnipeg controlled the ball for 5:05, putting it in the end zone on an 11-play, 75-yard march, but they were certainly aided by an interference call against Damian Lyons.
Well, look at Brandon Rogers here, always hustling downfield on specialty team, knocks Lucius Floyd off balance right there and stops him at the 33-yard line.
2:41 remaining in the half. 1st and 10 from the 33. The handoff to Floyd, and he's upset at the 36.
Don, they've added 12,000 additional seats for Grey Cup 93 in Calgary, and the seat furthest away from the action is GG in the far north end zone, the very top of the temporary stands. The view is looking south. It's a perfect view of the skyline of Calgary if you turn around. I think they also had a perfect view of the F-18s when they flew past at the start of the game. Seat cost $93, including GST, which is always topical out here in the West, as you know.
And the fans sitting up there are very thankful that the wind isn't blowing today. Lucius Floyd takes the pass over the middle and gets to the 50.
Terrific read that time by Damon Allens. Paul Randolph, the outside linebacker, was coming scot-free, and he knows that he's not going to be blocked, so the pressure falls on him to make the read and dump it hot. He sees the linebacker.
You see the blitz right here with Winnipeg. They're bringing everybody. Lucius Floyd circles right out of the backfield, comes through that crack. Von Booker's in a chase mode. That defensive lineman cannot run with your tailback.
A gain of 14, 1st and 10 from the 50. 1:57 remaining in the half. Lucius Floyd this time will only get a couple of yards, with Greg Clark making the tackle.
Winnipeg plays this tenacious gambling defense where you'll see their linebackers flying around. They do a lot of stunning up front, intertwining with the defensive linemen, and that play there where they was able to stop Floyd, but sometimes it will victimize him.
One of the things Winnipeg does a little differently now up front with their veteran nose guard Stan Mikowicz is that he plays a little softer. He doesn't come as aggressively as he used to. Pass intended for Eddie Brown or the Gizmo. The two are in exactly the same area. Doesn't really matter who it was intended to, it's incomplete.
Little chat between both of those guys. Obviously some miscommunication on where somebody is supposed to go. The inside guy looked like maybe Eddie Brown was supposed to go down the seam, and the Giz was supposed to drag under on the quick slant.
That fella borrowed Scott Oak's hat from last week.
That could be. Hey, Scott made a fashion statement last week in his catching.
1:29 remaining in the half. The Bombers appear to have settled down and are playing more disciplined football after, at times in the first quarter, almost appearing to lose it. Boyko waits for the ball at the 12. Good downfield tackle by J.P. Izquierdo. Each side has players who excel on special teams. I talked about Brendan Rodgers for Winnipeg. J.P. Izquierdo, who came over in that big trade between Toronto and Edmonton, does the same job for the Eskimos.
One of the key figures, Edmonton and Toronto early in the year made a historic 8-for-8 trade. Of those 8 players, 7 are still on this Edmonton Eskimo roster, and that being one of them who was noted for his great specialty team play.
And we also saw Bruce Dixon earlier with his recovery of the fumble on the specialty team play. 2 great acquisitions for Edmonton.
A great trade for Edmonton. It might be the worst trade that the Argos have ever made. I don't think might is the word. It was the worst trade the Argos have ever made.
Benny Goods and Leroy Blue honing in on Sammy Garza. These two guys up front have just been coming relentlessly all game. Benny Goods from the inside with Leroy Blue containing him, and he actually fumbled, and it was recovered on the play by his center, Von Konen.
It's an 8-yard loss.
Willie Pless is down on the play, grasping his knee. Hopefully it's nothing serious. We saw Willie lead the game a couple of times this year with some slight concussions, and this is a little different this time.
Well, it was something quite serious in the sense where Willie was knocked out, but he was knocked out unfortunately by his own player, the safety, Dan Murphy, at one time.
Well,
you can see both those guys, Benny Good and Garza, rolling over on Willie Pless and getting that knee caught up and pinched. They're taking a good look at it right now.
That right knee slid right under Sammy Garza as he was being brought down by Benny Goods on that sack, and Willie Pless was caught in an uncompromising position.
Just to pick up the thought that I had earlier, when he did get knocked out one time during the game, he actually missed 2 games after that because of the concussions.
Well, you'll see him right here. If we could get him to freeze it right there, you'll see where all that body is laying right on his knee right there. And Willie Pless, when you get that leg in that position, you're going to get some damage around that knee area.
The unfortunate thing that happens again, this is some of the knocks about playing on AstroTurf, because once that foot gets planted, it doesn't give the way natural grass would at times, so all the stress and strain falls on the joints and the ligaments.
But it's nice to see Willie coming off the field under his own power and really not showing any sign of a limp. Actually, he's jogging now. A very good sign to see.
James, you know, this is the Grey Cup. They got to drag you off this field, kicking and screaming and bleeding to death. You don't come out. This is the championship game.
If there's any pain, Dan, it will have to show up tomorrow. It won't exist today.
2nd and 16. Errol Martin has come into the ball game. Bruce Dixon is in. Willie Pless is out. Mike Richardson trying to run and is stopped at the 10-yard line. Leroy Blue, who has had a solid first half, makes the tackle for the Eskimos.
You know, they're trying to run that counter trade where you pull the backside of Winnipeg's offensive line, but a tremendous job is done by the front side of Edmonton's defense. They go in and they knock off the pulling offensive lineman to disrupt that running game before Richardson can get around the corner.
The Eskimos have called a timeout as Winnipeg's Bob Cameron will be standing in the end zone for this third down punt. Ron Lancaster trying to take advantage of the clock with 59 seconds showing before halftime.
And what little bit of wind is swirling around in this stadium, the flags are going with the Edmonton Eskimos right now.
Turnovers in the opening quarter resulted in the Eskimos scoring 17 of their 21 points.
Third down, 19.
Again, a high snap to Cameron, but he's able to pull it down. The ball is grabbed by the Bombers, and they're claiming, Blaze Bryant claims that it bounced off an Eskimo.
Well, it did, but it looked like it hit Trent Brown, and when it hit Trent Brown at that time, then that made him and Blaze Bryant in the no yards penalty. I think they'll call no yards.
That's exactly what happened. Blaze Bryant was definitely within 5 yards.
No yards. Winnipeg number 21. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
Well, Blaze Bryant saw the ball hit the Edmonton player, but he was definitely within that 5-yard area.
Take a look just off the left shoulder of Trent Brown, and again, is not a no yards penalty in a sense that you're within the 5-yard structure. It's off the bounce of the ball once it hits the ground, so it's 5 yards as opposed to 15.
Damon Allen was going deep for Sandusky in the end zone, but he overthrew him by a huge margin. Sandusky was being covered by Kim Phillips with 43 seconds remaining in the half.
That's one of the things that have probably always been a drawback with Damon Allen. He throws the deep ball very well in a nice tight spiral, but the one thing that he does not allow is enough air under the ball for the receivers to run underneath it. The offensive line is doing an excellent job up front, allowing him time to look deep. Rod Connup along there with Morris, and those guys are just getting the job done.
Second and 10 from the 43. Allen can't find a receiver open, decides to take off. He slipped as he attempted to cut back in front of Greg Battle, and Greg Clark finished the job.
Well, that's what makes Damon Allen so dangerous, is that at any point he can bring that ball down and take it upfield. You'll see Greg Battle right here roaming from his middle linebacker position, reading Damon Allen, pulling down the football, and he reacts, and he gets in his line of pursuit, and he drops him short of the first down.
He's looking downfield. He's got plenty of field to see, and then at the last minute, the Winnipeg defense is going to allow him to have to break the line of scrimmage. They're playing in the deep zone. It was 2nd and 10. They want to force him, and then Greg Battle with his speed is able to react up and make the tackle short of the first down.
A 45-yard field goal attempt for Sean Fleming. It's good. So with 13 seconds remaining in the half, the Eskimos increased their advantage to 24-7. You know, you can't reflect back on what happened during the regular season when you get into postseason contests. Last week, we saw the Hamilton Ticats come very close to upsetting the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a team that had dominated them in regular season play, and the Bombers racked up 105 points in 2 meetings against the Eskimos, allowing just 25 in their 2 meetings during regular season play.
Well, these are not the same 2 teams that met any time during the course of the season this year. The Eskimos have progressively over the last 7 or 8 weeks gotten better and better and better, and unfortunately the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the loss of Matt Dunnigan really has hurt them.
Sammy Garza throws for Richardson. Richardson goes down the sidelines and is forced out of bounds with 4 seconds remaining. A gain of 34 yards with Glenn Rogers forcing Richardson out of bounds.
And you're in Troy Westwood field goal range, so you bring him on with 4 seconds to go to line up for possibly a 48-yard field goal attempt and get 3 points before the end of the half.
With a 24-7 lead, I can guarantee you right now that kind of play right there will upset Ron Lancaster the most of anything that he has seen so far. Don't give up anything cheap and easy.
Westwood has been very good from the 40 to 49-yard line this year, hitting on 12 of 14 tries. Penalty flag on the play. The kick is good. There were penalty flags downfield. And there could be a substitution call against the Eskimos.
Well, they'll decline the penalty. You don't want to take the points off the board. It's the last play of the half.
Too many men. Edmonton, decline. Field goal stand.
So Westwood answers Sean Fleming's field goal on the final play of the first half. And at halftime in this 81st Grey Cup game at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the Edmonton Eskimos lead the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 24-10. Now let's go to Scott Oak.
Don, thank you. The first half of Grey Cup 93 is in the books. Consensus was in the days leading up to this game, these teams were evenly matched, but here are the Eskimos in control of the Grey Cup contest. Let's get some clarification now from our game day analysts, Doug Flutie and Dave Ritchie. Doug, a game of mistakes in the favor of the Edmonton Eskimos for much of the first half, and because of it, your Edmonton counterpart, Damon Allen, was in his zone.
Very relaxed. It enabled them to have good field position, get some points on the board quickly, and he can be relaxed and just be an athlete out there and use his athletic ability to put them in good situations.
Dave, Allen breaking contain, if there was any, has been a major story in the first half of this game. What happened?
Absolutely. I think, they're losing contain on him. The ends are, the linebacker are losing contain, and they've got to figure that out at halftime, and I think that'll be one of their adjustments, has to be.
Doug, Sammy Garza, you've noted, has played well. His problem has been the Bombers just have not had the ball because of the turnovers.
Right. The mistakes have put the ball in Edmonton's hands, and when he has been out there, he's been fairly efficient. He's done a good job. I think he's got to try to turn to a guy like David Williams and lean on him a little bit. Usually you like to put three receivers to one side and isolate them. Against Edmonton, you really can't do that because they'll secondary blitz the backside. So keep it balanced up, but try to work to David.
Okay, thanks again to both of you. The Eskimos lead through 30 minutes of Grey Cup 93. Over 1,000 performers are covering the turf as we speak here at McMahon Stadium. When we come back, we'll take in some of the halftime spectacular. Back with you now in Calgary at halftime. Yesterday here, they staged the opening ceremonies of Grey Cup 93. They used a cast of 6,000 people, and like most other things in this Grey Cup week, it was organized to a T. Today's halftime show is a condensed version of those opening ceremonies. It's a salute to this country's Western heritage, Canada's youth, and Canadian football. And let's go to the field now and take in some of it.
Bomber fans here! All right, we're going to get you singing and dancing. We want you all to join in. We're going to do a spell out of Calgary. When I say a letter, I want you to do it after me. Give me a C! Give me an A! Give me an L! A little faster and louder! G! A! R! Y! What's it spell? Heart of the Golden West. You got it. Okay, we're going to do it again. This time, double that volume. Are you ready? Here we go. Give us a C. Give us an A. Give us an L. Okay, you ready? Faster. G. A. R. Y. What's it spell? Heart of the Golden West. Woo! All right, when you come to McMahon Stadium, of course, you have to do something called the wave. That is where you stand up, you throw your hands up in there, and you let out the wildest scream you got. We're going to start at this end of McMahon Stadium, work our way across here, and over that way. Over here, you ready? Up! Everybody up! Yes! Look at them go! Along the end zone! Let's see ya! Wow, yes! This side, everybody up! Wow! All right, it is now time to do some square dancing out there. We're going to show you how to do it the first time. Then we want everybody to stand up and do the square dance with us. Here we go, like this. Now you take your partner's right hand, face him down. You gotta smile, never frown, and take a bow. Then you lift your elbows, skip around, and just off your feet. 6-1 horses, lucky hat. Now stay standing. This time find a different partner on the other side. A little bit differently we're going to do it this time. You ready? Here we go. Now you take that partner's right hand, raise him now. Smile, don't frown, and take a bow. Then you wave your hands high in the air. And you bump your partner's hip right there. 4 times, 2, 3, 4. And you ride the 6-1 horses, lucky how. Big hand for yourselves. You did some good square dancing out there. All right, sing along time. We're going to do a song called Y'all Come. Every time I say y'all come, I want you to say it back to me. For now, get your hands clapping, everybody. When you live in the country, everybody's your neighbor. On this one thing you can rely, that they'll all come and see you, and they'll never, never leave you. Yes, they'll all come and see you now and then. You ready? Y'all come. Y'all come. Yes, y'all come to see us when you can. Y'all come. Y'all come. Yes, y'all come to see us now and then. How about this one? She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. When she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be riding 6-1 horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6-1 horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6-1 horses. She'll be driving 6-1 horses. She'll be driving 6-1 horses when she comes. Okay, everybody get swaying back and forth and help us sing. Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play. Everybody swaying. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Just you, let's hear you. You got it. Where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Let's sing it. Back to the beginning. You ready? The tin folk are coming. They're coming by the dozen, and they're eating everything they're gonna have. Hands going. But right after dinner, they ain't looking any thinner, and you can hear them sing. Everybody, y'all come. Y'all come. Yes, y'all come to see us when you can. Y'all come. Y'all come. Yes, y'all come to see us now and then. Join the rest of the Grey Cup halftime show, everybody. Good night.
Well, I can tell you, I just went outside. It's beautiful, and the crowd is enjoying the halftime show to the fullest. And as it continues, we'll be back at McMahon Stadium. Just past 6 o'clock Mountain Time. The sun's been down for a few hours in Calgary, but mercifully it is not cold today. Cold, nothing close to a factor in this Grey Cup game. Difficult to say what the form chart might have been heading into this game. Yes, Winnipeg beat Edmonton twice during the regular schedule. In fact, ran up the score in both games, but these were two different teams heading into the Grey Cup game. And Don Whitman, so far, not hard to tell who the difference favors.
Well, turnovers definitely hurt the Blue Bombers in the first half, but Danny, you've been in a situation where you went to the dressing room at halftime trailing by 20 points.
Surely did. Well, it's in the 81 Grey Cup against Ottawa. We were down 20-1 at halftime and came back, and actually were very fortunate with Cutler kicking a field goal late in the game to win 26-23. So this is a 30-minute game, and I'm sure that Coach Lancaster is telling those guys that in that locker room, and on the other side that Cal Murphy was there with us in that comeback, that it is possible. Anything is possible.
I'm sure that's the message, James.
It is, Don, and I was in a similar situation in BC in '83 where we had been handhandled 17-1 in the first half against BC versus Toronto, and we came back, held them in check, and won that game 18-17.
Well, as I mentioned, those turnovers accounted for 17 first-quarter points for the Eskimos. The first points coming on a blocked punt by Bruce Dixon.
Well, the bad snap really set this up. As Nick Benjamin just sailed it over top Cameron's head. Cameron was taking a look at it, thinking about maybe kicking it out of the end zone, but Bruce Dixon came at the last minute, sailed out right in front of the path of the ball and was able to pick it up. That's Morris Lawler, the rookie that came down, was able to run it in.
Later, the Eskimos got a touchdown by Jim Sandusky on a throw from Damon Allen.
Sandusky and Brown doing that stack situation, and then what they do, they put a lot of strain on the halfback. The halfback, Sampson, that time takes the bite on it. Damon Allen comes out on the option, throws it to him very, very easily.
Some excellent blocking up front for that second Eskimo touchdown. Winnipeg, late in the ball game, made a very good play to get into field goal range for Richardson.
Well, Don,
or for Westwood.
When they thought that Edmonton might be putting this on the way, they had the big pass up in the flat, Garza to Richardson out in the flat. Garza did a fine job of getting the ball to him early, allowing him to run with the football. And what was so important is that they were able to line up for Westwood to get a 3-point field goal out of this to bring them back within 14 points. Those points could become very valuable here in the second half. One more thing they need to do, though, is protect Sammy Garza a little more. They cannot not allow him to take these huge hits that he was taking in the first half. Tony Woods earlier took a clean shot on Sammy Garza where he came through and he leveled him and he landed on that shoulder where he had the rotator cuff injury, and he even took his helmet off on the hit. Sammy Garza cannot take many hits of that magnitude throughout the rest of this game.
And I'm sure another message that Cal Murphy might be giving his troops in the intermission is play a little more disciplined style of football. Scott?
Well, Don, you've got a great vantage point for the halftime show from your position in the press box here at McMahon, and so do we have a great view of it from our box at the south end of McMahon Stadium. So we want to go back out there now and take in some more of this halftime spectacular. It involves about 1,000 performers. They've been rehearsing since October, and they've modeled today's halftime show and yesterday's opening on the ceremonies for the 1988 Winter Olympics when Calgary impressed the world in this very same facility.
Just for a moment, let's revisit 1988. and gentlemen, young Canadian alumnus Bill Woodward.
We'd like to conclude our halftime ceremonies with a tribute to our home and native land as the combined choirs of the Calgary High Schools and the Young Canadians sing O Land of Promise.
Grey Cup volunteers are flooding the field for the big finish of the halftime spectacular. Hope you've enjoyed the halftime show of Grey Cup 93. We'll return to McMahon Stadium with the Edmonton Eskimos leading the Winnipeg Blue Bombers by 14 through 30 minutes of this championship game. Well, they've had a couple of thousand people on the field here at McMahon Stadium for the halftime show. In a few moments, the field will be long once again to the players, but right now we've got a chance to get some more analysis from our game day coaches, if you will. Calgary's Doug Flutie, 3 years running, the outstanding player in the league, and Dave Ritchie, the head coach of the BC Lions, and before that with defensive credentials from Winnipeg and Ottawa. Dave, we go back to the key point of this game. Damon Allen being allowed to run. What are they saying, or what have they just said in the Winnipeg locker room about containing him?
Well, they've got to stop bringing a linebacker over and making the end contain him. They've got to keep him balanced up and keep the inside, not let him get to the outside where they're putting a stretch on the linebacker and the end. And I think once they do that, then they can get back in this game, because I think they can get back in it.
Sounds simple enough. I guess the question is, will the Edmonton Eskimos let them? Doug, David Williams will be a key, according to the first half stats, in any comeback by the Bombers.
He had 4 catches in the first half, and there were a couple times he did get open. He kind of showed his quarterback up a little bit on the field when he was open and didn't get the ball. But I think he can become a factor, and I think they can use Richardson out of the backfield on the weak side to make a linebacker cover him. Try to get him in a situation where a linebacker, I know that Wilson's chasing him across the field sometimes, but try to get your backs in a situation matched up with linebackers and pass coverage. Also, they've only rushed the ball for 15 yards. They've got to make a little better effort at running the football.
I know you were sitting in here when they were on the goal line and you wanted to run onto the field. It's only about 25 yards away in order Sammy Garza to hand the ball off to Michael Richardson.
Well, what happened on the play down by the goal line, I think Edmonton came with 2 defensive backs blitzing on each side. I think Wilson took it on his own to leave the receiver uncovered and came on his own.
Okay, second half is next on the agenda of Grey Cup 93. Right now, let's go to Chris Cuthbert at the Edmonton bench. Chris?
Scott, here's a guy who would love to be on the field right now. Blake Marshall, give us a sense of the mood in the Eskimo room.
It was pretty emotional. We built this winning streak on emotion, and there were some emotional words said by our players and coaches, and really there's not much they have to say when it comes down to 30 minutes and it's the last game of the year.
Thanks, Blake. Over to Mark Lee.
Thanks, Chris. I'm with Matt Dunnigan. Matt, some nerves, some turnovers, some discipline trouble in the first half. What was the message in the dressing room?
Well, we got to correct those mistakes. We can't give them easy ones. We feel like all those things cost us serious points in the first half, and it got us behind the 8 ball. If we eliminate those things, I think we can come back, stay within our game plan, we'll be able to ground out a victory here.
Good luck in the second half. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Don?
Well, 24-10 was the final score in last year's Grey Cup game when the Calgary Stampeders defeated the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and the Bombers now trail 24-10 as we get set for the second half here at McMahon Stadium. The Gizmo is back along with Lucius Floyd. Floyd will handle it at the 8-yard line. Floyd runs into some traffic as he gets up to the 36, brought down there by Greg Clark. When the Bombers look at the first half of this ball game, all they have to do is look down to the bottom of the page, and the numeral, second from the bottom, 4 turnovers.
Very hard to win a football game when you've had 4 turnovers, and especially in the first half, it really accounts for the lead that Edmonton has been able to establish here against the Bombers' defense.
Well, let's see what kind of offense Damon Allen opts to run in the second half. Will he continue what he was successful with during the first 30 minutes?
If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
He gives it to Floyd, and Vaughn Booker piles him up immediately. Damon Allen this year didn't have the impressive passing statistics of some of his contemporaries in the CFL, but Ron Lancaster always refers to passing efficiency when talking about Damon.
Well, he ranks second in the league in passing efficiency. His total numbers, like you said, Don, wasn't there, but what he did to keep his team winning was the key factor.
Second and 10, Edmonton. Allen will try to throw over the middle, intended for Lucius Floyd, and it's knocked down by the linebacker, Greg Clark. And we said at the start of the telecast, the speed and the agility of the Winnipeg linebackers so important. And Dan, we saw Clark take the deep drop.
For years and years and years, Winnipeg has really been historically had great defenses and great linebackers. And in this case, where Lucius Floyd was going to be from receiver to turn to defender, because that pass was intercepted by Clark, had Lucius not knocked it out of his hands.
Ron Lancaster had a great line. He said that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers seem to have a linebacking clone factory. Penalty flag as Boyko handles the third down punt and is stopped at the 39-yard line.
I think we'll get a no-yards penalty against Dixon. It looked like number 36 of Edmonton was inside the...
No yards. Edmonton number 43, 15-yard penalty. First down, Winnipeg.
Jed Roberts was guilty of being inside that 5-yard area. Sammy Garza passed for 146 yards in the first half. He had one of his passes intercepted, one of the 4 turnovers. They just announced the official attendance this afternoon, 50,035.
Not a bad show put on here in Calgary.
Garza's pass for Wilcox. Wilcox had to reach back and grab a low throw, but he was able to make the catch in front of Robert Holland.
A tremendous reception by Gerald Wilcox here. You'll see him working out, going right down, pulling that one off the shoe top. Great concentration and hand-eye coordination.
Very important for Sammy Garza in the offense to come out. They ended the half on a high note with 3 points. Come out, establish, make some first downs. Don't try to get it all back at one time. Be patient.
Gerald Wilcox with a career season. Inside toss to Richardson. Great defensive play by the Eskimos.
Tony Woods, a big defensive tackle out of Oklahoma, did a fine job in sniffing out that quick toss back inside as Sammy's doing the half roll, the pitch toss back to Richardson, and he was right there to make the play. You see Sammy right here with this pitch toss back to Richardson, but Tony Wood stepping up from his nose tackle position, not to be fooled, and makes the play.
But the reason that doesn't work much because Sammy Garza hasn't run any plays that he's coming out and really forcing the corner to throw the ball very well. So therefore, it was easily read by the Edmonton defense.
Towering punt by Bob Cameron. The Gizmo waits for it. Bobby Evans got downfield very quickly. Penalty flags, and this, I'm sure, is going to be a late hit by Clark on the Gizmo.
Make that Blaze Bryant. Once again, he is going to draw a critical penalty on a punt return, whereas he had in the first half. Gizmo was down, and Blaze Bryant just dove right in and drilled him while he was laying there on the turf. Going to cost his team 15 yards.
Spearing, Winnipeg number 21, 15-yard penalty. First down, Edmonton.
You're absolutely right, James. I saw Clark in the pile-up. I thought it might have been him, but Blaze Bryant with a second very costly penalty after the play was over.
Well, Clark is there on the initial part of the tackle along with Ford, but Blaze Bryant just absolutely uncalled for, dives in there spearing, using the crown of that helmet, and you can injure a player in that fashion, but he cost his team, more importantly, 15 yards here, field position.
First and 10, the ball is at the 28. Handoff to Lucius Floyd, and Floyd does a fine job of finding the seam and getting up to the 40-yard line. Brought down by the safety, Errol Brown.
Well, Floyd does a fine job of reading his blocking up front, and when you get those blitzing linebackers from Winnipeg, that allows Floyd to step outside once they've gone past and pick up the yardage.
Let's take a look, and this is why it works so hard. See this guy right here? That's Alfred Payton. Now, why he's got to respect Damon Allen, and that opens up that big hole that Lucius Floyd is able to run through.
First and 10. Lucius Floyd again. And each time, Alfred Payton, as the outside linebacker, has the responsibility with Damon Allen, and he went with Allen and was right out of the play.
I think, as Coach Ritchie has said, they may need to change that up because you're taking a guy like Alfred Payton out of the play and making him do something he's not used to doing. He's used to being involved in the play, getting down there, making the tackles, getting in the quarterback's face. You got to at least maybe crash him down and then have a guy the speed of Greg Battle to come as secondary contain on the outside may serve as a better choice.
Second and 2 from the 46. Eddie Brown wide open for a first down to the 45 of Winnipeg.
Eddie Brown working in the seam, and Damon Allen with that play fake inside to Lucius Floyd freezes the linebackers, allowing Eddie Brown to come underneath. There's no linebackers in the zone in front of him, and he's into the secondary before being brought down by Clark after picking a first down.
18 yards.
You'll see Clark closing right there to make the tackle, but it's only after Brown has picked up the first down. They have to play tighter defense than that the rest of the way.
15 touchdowns on the season for downtown Eddie Brown, and Lucius Floyd drives to the 40-yard line. Vaughn Booker came over to make the tackle on Lucius Floyd.
You know, Floyd had an outstanding closing of the season, Don. When you look at 4 of his last 5 games where he rushed for over 100 yards, and that one he didn't get it, he had 99, and he's really made a big difference in this Edmonton backfield. The University of Nevada product has done a fine job in adapting to Coach Lancaster's scheme of things.
Well, Ron Lancaster said when he played his very first game against the Calgary Stampeders, he had only been in camp for 3 days after coming from Saskatchewan, and he didn't make a mistake. The ball comes loose. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Randolph has picked it up, but they're blowing it dead. And the Bombers are upset. They thought it should have still been a live ball, but they're ruling that Damon Allen was down.
We saw a few incidents like that last week where there was the thought of some quick whistles, but the officials are doing what they feel is proper, that the momentum had stopped moving downfield and in the protection of a player, and you just saw Henry Gizmo Williams speared just a few plays prior to that, and the officials do not want to jeopardize getting a player hurt in this situation.
Well, Cal Murphy definitely does not agree with the call.
Good look at Greg Battle coming off the outside, but what the offensive line of Edmonton was trying to do was cut those guys right at the line of scrimmage. Good feet work there, and that allowed Lloyd Lewis to get up into Damon Allen's face.
So on third down, Glenn Harper gets away a big punt that Boyko takes right to the goal line.
Very fortunate he didn't get caught with a safety right there.
So the Bombers will be in a deep hole as the Calgary Tower is all lit up for this Grey Cup game. Damon Allen and the Eskimos in the last series were fortunate in that the officials ruled he was down.
I certainly think that the Edmonton Eskimos got away with one. Let's keep it going. Stop it right there. Hold it just a second. As you can see, that left knee hit the ground, and all of a sudden, Damon Allen is making an attempt to get up and try to continue running with the ball. The ball was stripped away, and that was a very quick whistle. So, chalk up one for the Eskimos that they stole.
From the 1 yard line. Pass is complete to Chris Johnstone, and Johnstone takes it up post to the 10.
A safe little middle screen that time, getting the ball to Johnstone, allowing those offensive linemen to let him run, and he got up almost close to the 10-yard line there. Safe play by Sammy Garza.
Willie Press just patrolling from tackle to tackle, doing an excellent job. You can show he's getting outside containment, then he comes back down inside, showing great speed of being able to bring Johnstone down.
Chris Johnstone was with the Eskimos in that 1990 Grey Cup game, and he still lives in Edmonton. This should be close to a first down for Winnipeg. Let's go to the sidelines, and here's Chris.
Don, Willie Pless, no problem with the knee at all. In fact, he was upset that the Eskimos wouldn't let him back in to finish the first half. The instructions for the defense, more zone in the second half. Don't give up the big play and don't take any chances.
8:48 remaining in the third quarter, and the Bombers do have a first down, and they trail by 14 points.
So the University of Kansas product has shown some resilience after going down with that twisted knee earlier and having to hobble off the field. He's come back and he's making plays once again.
Willie's going to have to show some of that linebacker mentality, go over and talk to those doctors in a fashion that they understand.
Garza's sideline pattern, and David Williams picks up additional yardage and a Winnipeg first down.
Damon Lyons has his hands full with David Williams out there working one-on-one. Williams on the quick out, Garza with a gun, getting the ball to him in a hurry. He spins upfield, stays inbounds, tight ropes before being driven out of bounds by Rogers and Rooks. Very tight rope job, very fine job of tight roping done though there, Dan.
An excellent job, but he makes the Cardinal sin. He allows the receiver to slide out him outside, force him back inside to the containment.
Sammy Garza rolling out, throwing for Alfred Jackson. He's got a first down up at the 50-yard line.
Sammy Garza is now starting to utilize all his tools. With the rollout left, he gets out of the pocket. He puts an added pressure on the Edmonton defense. Jackson working one-on-one against Lawler down the field. Breaks back to Garza. Garza gets the ball to him in plenty of time. He cradles it to his body and makes the big play.
Coach Cal Murphy said that Jackson, he plays also defensive back, could be the best all-around athlete on the Winnipeg Blue Bomber team.
Garza throws to the sideline. Ooh, there was a bit of miscommunication there, and Robert Holland, had he been able to grab the throw, was gone for a sure 6.
Well, Sammy would like to have that one back. I mean, he just hung it out there, and there was only 2 Eskimos out there in the flat.
Don Wilson was blitzing from that rover position out the left side, and then when Wilcox saw that blitz, all he did was release straight up the seam, and Garza anticipated going to the out.
A big play right here for Sammy. He has a second down and 10. It's critical that he keeps this drive alive and not kill his momentum right here.
Well, remember, this drive started at the Winnipeg 1-yard line. Holland was blitzing. Garza throws over the middle, and it's well over the head of Gerald Wilcox, and there's a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage.
And generally, that's in that area where you're going to get a holding penalty against the offensive line. And, you know, they came with the blitz. Ruck came free up the middle, and he was picked up by Johnstone, and that might be the call.
Holding, Winnipeg number 25, decline. Third down.
Chris Johnstone was guilty of the holding call. He was one of the players involved in that big swap between the Eskimos and the Argos, and then he went to Winnipeg in exchange for Warren Hudson. And I think he's quite happy that he wound up in Winnipeg rather than spending the year in Toronto.
And he's one of the main key reasons why Michael Richardson had such a successful year running the ball.
Bob Cameron's third down punt. The Gizmo will try and field it. The Gizmo makes the first man miss, but Chris Changaris is there to make the tackle with 7:04 remaining in this third quarter. Well, I know the Giz has got fans, but me? This is what it's all about, and I can see Dan Kepley's name engraved on here 6 times, James Curry twice. But so far, there's no champagne in there.
They will be. I tell you what, the guys can't wait to have a taste out of this cup.
And it'd be nice and chilled.
Yes. All right. Well, they're continuing with the third quarter here at McMahon with 7:04 remaining, and the Eskimos first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. And at the moment, the Eskimos do have a hand up on that piece of silverware we're examining. Ron Lancaster, twice as a quarterback, has won it. He would like to put his name on it as a head coach. This is the first opportunity he has had. Damon Allen won it in 1987, and Damon Allen is taken down by Lloyd Lewis out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
Good job by the Winnipeg secondary that time, primarily Sampson and Phillips on that side. When Damon bootlegs out there, the Sally Rand, the famous stripper in the 30s, comes out all by himself. He's looking and he wants to throw the ball downfield. Secondary guys locked up on the receivers and forced Damon Allen to have to run it, and then the pursuit was able to come in and make the tackle on him.
Now, is it the coaches or the players who are creative on a naked bootleg calling it a Sally Rand?
Well, Sally Rand, the famous stripper, as she was leaving this thing, would show that naked booty, so that's how it came about.
Over the middle for Lucius Floyd.
Damon Allen's pass is complete.
Like that Michael
Souls, I'm sorry.
Michael Souls from his fullback position just trickled right up. He checked at the line of scrimmage to make sure that there was no blitz there. And when the blitz did not show, Michael Souls creeped up right in the seam as Clark dropped off, sat down right in front of him, was able to make that reception to keep the drive alive for the first down.
First and 10, the ball at the 31.
Michael Souls, a McGill product, local Canadian kid.
Damon Allen rolls left this time. Battle is after him and gets him.
Greg Battle playing a tremendous game this afternoon. The great pursuit right there from the Arizona State product. Greg Battle has been in many Grey Cups in past, and this is just one of those many for him.
Call play this time is Damon's going to boot, and then he's going to wheel out. He's going to pull Mike Dumoulin, the guard at that time, to come out and lead him, but Greg Battle's having nothing to do with it. He gets up over top of the block by Dumoulin and goes in and makes the tackle.
A loss of 3. Second and 13, Edmonton. Allen's pass is intercepted by Kim Phillips. It was intended for Sandusky. Sandusky had stopped, and Damon Allen threw the ball into the spot that I think he felt Sandusky was going to, but Kim Phillips was there by himself.
The pressure by Randolph, make that Alfred Payton. Payton came around clean on Damon Allen, finally bringing the pressure on him as you see him come up, and Damon tried to get that ball off in a hurry, and he underthrew Sandusky on the play.
Well, as I said, I think he was throwing it to the spot on the quick slant, and for whatever reason, Sandusky pulled the route up a little short. Damon threw the ball to where he thought Sandusky was going to be, and the guy there is Kim Phillips.
First and 10 from the 31-yard line. The fake reverse to Alfred Jackson, but the Eskimos, Errol Martin is not buying it.
Took too long for that play to develop. You saw Jackson and the Edmonton defense could read it. No one dropped off. Everyone came on in. Martin stayed at home and read the play perfectly.
The pass going to come on the reverse, and then he wants to look downfield. Martin doing an excellent job of being disciplined, keeping his outside leverage and his containment, forcing guards that have to tuck the ball and slide in.
And the cold is not a problem for that University of Utah product.
4:13 remaining in the third quarter. 2nd and 20, Winnipeg. Garza's pass is intercepted. Picked off by Larry Ruck. It was intended for David Williams. And Larry Ruck, the Saskatoon Hilltop product, gets the ball back for the Eskimos. Bar in Edmonton, the fans enjoying the Larry Ruck interception.
Take a good look at Larry Ruck. He's right here, and all he's going to do is read this inside route. And he's going to follow the quarterback's eyes, stay on the inside of Wilcox this time, and as Garza turns around and wheels, Larry Ruck is inside, takes it away, makes a good reception, looks the ball in.
Well, Larry Ruck made a very difficult transition coming from the outside into the middle.
Well, he certainly did. Larry has some problems with the vision in one of his eyes, but when you're an outside linebacker, you're used to seeing everything come at you from one angle. When you get in the middle, it's a traffic jam in there, and it comes from both sides. Larry has adapted very well to that.
Talking about a traffic jam, Lucius Floyd ran into one. Lloyd Lewis was the first to make contact with him after a gain of 5.
Well, the Texan A&I product is playing in his first Grey Cup, and he's worked many years to get to this point. Last year, he played with Edmonton, and he was released at the beginning of the season and said that he was possibly too old to play, but he's fit in very well in this Cal Murphy scheme of things in Winnipeg.
Rushing statistics from regular season play to today are reversed. Oh, the ball comes loose as Lucius Floyd is hit, and Winnipeg has got it back.
What a penetration by Paul Randolph that time on the blitz. He almost took the handoff, decided to make the solid tackle on Lucius Floyd, and caused a major fumble. Watch this contact.
Paul Randolph comes through and he just plants Lucius Floyd. I mean, he runs right through it. That's what you want to do when you're a defensive player. The big play once again for the Winnipeg defense.
And the battle was between the two linebackers, Payton and Clark, to get to the loose ball.
The thing that they know, that this Winnipeg defense knows, if we make some turnovers, get it back into Sammy Garza's hands as many times as we can, the odds are sooner or later he's got a chance to make something happen.
Well, he makes something happen here as Wilcox takes it to the 5.
Sammy Garza with the quick slant to Gerald Wilcox, his favorite receiver out of Weber State right there. Sammy from UTEP fires right in the seam. The linebackers are not able to get out there quick enough, and Sammy's throwing darts.
Well, Wilcox was a most disappointed spectator at last year's Grey Cup game at the Sky Dome in Toronto. And he was looking forward for the past 12 months to a return engagement. He takes it to the 5. The end zone pass intended for Williams, incomplete.
Well, we're going to get an interference on Lyons in the corner over here where he was locked up with David Williams, would not release him, and it's going to be 1st and goal at the 1.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 10. Delivered in the end zone. 1st down on the 1.
1st and goal, Winnipeg from the 1. Let's take another look at the interference.
1-on-1, 6'4", David Williams is just trying to get outside of him, and what Damon Lyons going to do is grab the cloth inside and gets called with the flag.
Garza keeps, touchdown. This game is not over.
Well, that time he let Garrell, McNeils, Von Conant, Black, and Walby do what they're out here on the field for. Reestablish the line of scrimmage. Watch these big guys get off the football, and they just drive Sammy Garza right into the end zone.
Troy Westwood adds the point after, and a converted touchdown is all that separates the Eskimos and the Blue Bombers, and the fans at the Walker Theater in Winnipeg have reason to whoop it up.
This is what Grey Cup excitement is all about. You get the fans back home in Manitoba. You got the fans here in Calgary. They're having one heck of a football game being showed them this evening. You see Sammy Garza once again. He's met up high there, but that determination and drive he was not going to be denied.
And behind Chris Walby, he can almost hide. I mean, Walby, 325 pounds, the outstanding lineman in the CFL this year, and Garza wisely followed him into
You look at the excitement and the enthusiasm that he has there. When he came off of that sneak, he's up high, and most of the time they're going to drop that shoulder and drop that helmet down low, but he allows that Edmonton Eskimo guys to get a shot at it, but he's still got the momentum to get it in the end zone.
And the key, once again, we see more points off another turnover, which has been very critical in today's contest.
Boy, have they ever. First in the first half, Edmonton taking advantage. Now in the third quarter, Winnipeg getting a touchdown as the result of a turnover. Lucius Floyd is the ball carrier on this kickoff return, and Bobby Evans makes the tackle at the 35. To the sidelines now, and here's Mark Lee.
Well, actually, I'm not on the sidelines. I'm way up here in Section P, Don, with the owner of the Sacramento Gold Miners, Fred Anderson. Fred, it's Grey Cup at its best. What do you think?
Oh, it's a great game. This is the Grey Cup, I think, at its best. I saw the one in Toronto. This is even better. This is a great game, great turnout. Everything that I've seen has been spectacular.
Fred, let's watch this play for a minute. We'll come right back and talk to you, Don.
Yes, this has been a very exciting Grey Cup game. It looked as though it could be a blowout in the first quarter, but things have turned around. Damon Allen throws to the sidelines, and he's got Jim Sandusky wide open, tackled by Donald Smith.
Fred, can you see the day when the Grey Cup comes to Sacramento?
Well, I can see taking it back to Sacramento after a game up here, perhaps sometime soon, but playing the Grey Cup in Sacramento, we need a new stadium. We need a lot of things, and I'm not too sure we'll see that in the next 10 years, but I'd like to have the Grey Cup sitting in Sacramento next to our World Bowl trophy.
Fred was telling me after he saw the Western final, he wasn't so sure he wanted to come, but he's got good weather today, Don.
Yes, this indeed is a contrast from last Sunday. Lucius Floyd is stopped by Stan Mikowas.
Stan Mikowas just so steady in the middle. They take gaps. He reads the quarterback. He's not a guy that really stands out a lot, but he gets the job done for you play after play.
Well, you see Stan right there in the middle of your screen where he is able to slip the block of center Rod Connup. He's a steady old veteran. He knows you're not going to trick him too often, and he was able to read that play and make the stop for a loss.
We were talking earlier about the difference in the style of play of Stan this year. Some of his teammates were kidding the other day. They were saying, Stan and the safety are running stunts on occasion. Damon Allen's arm was hit as he tried to throw. He was fortunate that he was able to release the ball, as I believe it was Paul Randolph.
I think you're exactly right.
Paul Lewis got a piece of him.
Well, on successive series, Winnipeg was able to force Edmonton in the turnovers. You see Randolph, right? Lloyd Lewis, as a matter of fact, come in and get his hand on Damon's arm. And this series, they're forcing him into a punting situation. Somebody has woken up this Winnipeg defense, and they're playing great football at this moment.
Well, the Winnipeg defense relies so much on its speed, particularly from the linebackers, and they have been a factor in this third quarter.
Well, when those turnovers all of a sudden complete to points on the board, they go out there and play with a little more intensity.
Good downfield coverage by Trent Brown on Alan Boyko with 9 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Scott?
All right, Don, as the third quarter winds down in Grey Cup 93, we want to remind our audience that assisting CBC Sports with today's aerial coverage is still, and to have not these shots look spectacular all evening long, still manufacturers of the #1 chainsaw worldwide.
Yes, indeed, Scott, a spectacular overhead view. I don't think you'd have been able to see McMahon Stadium last Sunday, Dan.
Not at all. We could barely see the field from up here in the press box last year.
This should be the final play of the third quarter, and the pass is complete to Gerald Alphin. His first catch of the day. He takes the ball to the 42. And that is the end of the third quarter. The Edmonton Eskimos leading the Bombers by a converted touchdown.
We're set now for the fourth quarter of Grey Cup 93 in Calgary. A big finish beckons with the Bombers trailing Edmonton by just 7 points. And Doug Flutie, our game day analyst, says it's mostly because of the way Sammy Garza's played in the second half. Doug?
He's playing with a lot more confidence. He hit a quick slant to get him down to the 5-yard line on the hot. And on the last play, he had a lot of patience waiting for the receiver to clear the DB and get inside. So he's showing a lot more patience now.
Don?
Sammy Garza had quite a career at the University of Texas, El Paso. He passed for 6,100 yards in his collegiate career and 35 touchdowns. Handoff to Richardson. Richardson continues to battle his way across the 45 and gets to the 46 for a gain of about 4. Wilson and Pless made the tackle. Turnovers, 5 by Winnipeg, 3 by Edmonton. Under ideal conditions like this, we didn't expect to see those numbers.
But if you look at those last 2 by Edmonton, the scores creep even closer. We only have a 7-point difference right now, and that's basically the difference of 2 different turnovers.
That thermometer would have been frozen last Sunday. Sammy Garza runs for a first down.
Good play, a call play all the way as Sammy Garza comes out from underneath the center. He's going to have the option. If the pass pattern is there by David Williams on the out, he'll throw the out. If not, he's got some pulling guys in front of him to make a few blocks. Miles Garrell is trying to get around the corner. David Black comes out there. Nothing doing down the field. He takes it on his own shoulders, picks up the first down, keeps the chains moving.
Hunter gambles from his outside linebacker position, took an inside move on Chris Walby and was engulfed.
First and 10, the ball at the 53. Handoff to Richardson. Richardson gets into the 50 and the 49 of the Eskimos, tackled there by Don Wilson.
This is what makes Winnipeg so dangerous, when you can get Michael Richardson moving that football on the ground behind that massive offensive line, and you're reestablishing the line of scrimmage. You pick up 7-8 yards at a chunk.
James, we were at Winnipeg Stadium last Sunday. It took Richardson some time to get his running game wound up and into gear, but he was the key in the drive for the winning field goal.
They held Hamilton in check all third quarter. He took over in the fourth.
Johnstone takes the counter handoff and picks up a Winnipeg first down.
One of the rare carries that Johnstone does during the course of this game. Sometimes he's been used as far as a receiver, mostly a blocker. He gets inside. Larry Ruck makes a good effort of coming back inside from his blitz to make the tackle, but not before the first down is gained.
First carry of the day by Chris Johnstone, and he picks up 6 yards. Winnipeg at the Edmonton 44. The quick pass complete to Richardson, and Richardson slipped as he attempted to cut in front of Glenn Rogers.
On AstroTurf, quite often players spat up their shoes, and you can see Michael Richardson, as he tried to pirouette, might have slipped.
The fourth quarter all season has been Winnipeg's strongest. They have more than doubled the production of their opposition in the fourth quarter.
Edmonton plays a lot of read and matchup defenses in the secondary, and what they have to do, Sammy Garza, get that pass to him a little quicker.
Second and 7, and the pass to Alfred Jackson for a Winnipeg first down.
Sammy Garza is putting a lot of mustard on the football right now. He is feeling a lot of confidence in his passes. Alfred Jackson is really driving off the defensive back right here. He breaks it off and comes back. He goes down low for the football, but the offensive line is giving Sammy Garza the time up front. Von Conant, McNeil, and Black doing a fine job of blocking, protecting their quarterback.
Winnipeg first and 10, the inside toss to Richardson, and Richardson is stopped as he gets to the 25-yard line. It almost appeared as though he had a little difficulty handling that toss from Garza.
Sometime on that shovel pass, if the ball comes up too high, it may bounce off of the shoulder pads and look like that may have occurred.
Benny Good did a really good job that time of standing up Van Conant at the center and being able to go with the flow, get a hand on Richardson, be able to tackle him. If not, Richardson would still be running. That was an excellent play by Goods.
This drive for the Bombers started at the 18-yard line on second down. Garza throwing into the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking for Jackson, and Lawler may have got a hand up to just obstruct his view enough.
Brandon Rogers did a great job of coming over from his safety position up top, and that's what you're supposed to do when you're playing center field. You got Jackson here just on a fly route. He's up the seam. He's behind Lawler, but watch Rogers at the last moment come over and get a hand up and deflect the ball at the last second. Good blocking once again by that Winnipeg offensive line. Tony Woods can get no penetration up front.
Troy Westwood with a 32-yard field goal attempt. It's good. It's good. So the Bombers trail by 4 with 10:41 remaining. Earlier today, those hot air balloons provided a beautiful sight floating over McMahon Stadium and the city of Calgary, and the pilots are getting set to take them up again at the conclusion of this 1993 Grey Cup game.
Is that the way you're going back home?
I think that might be the quickest way. I don't know about getting out, though.
Take a parachute.
Corey Westwood to kick off for the Bombers after the field goal.
Henry the Gizmo Williams has apparently changed the footwear he was wearing to start this game. He is having some difficulties with his traction, but this kickoff goes to Lucius Floyd, and Floyd dives up to the 41-yard line. 10:36 remaining. Let's go to Mark Lee.
Don, number 68 for the Bombers, Nick Benjamin. You see him here on the sidelines is favoring his left arm. He has what they call in football the burner, a pinched nerve in his left arm. You see him holding the arm in. He made the snap on that last field goal despite the problem. Waving at the camera here, but he is in pain, and he will stay in the game.
Well, Nick Benjamin has had health problems for the last couple of years. He's a diabetic, and to handle his difficulties, claims that exercise and a more healthy diet have certainly been an asset.
A former #1 pick overall in the CFL draft several years back.
Michael Souls is driven back. This Winnipeg team is now inspired. Remember, they were down 21-0, 7-11 into the second quarter.
Coach Greg Newhouse in the middle of that hollow, giving a real inspiring talk to the defense.
2nd and 8 for the Eskimos. 9:46, the time remaining. 24-20. Edmonton leads. Damon Allen flushed out of the pocket. Allen will dump it off, and Michael Souls provides the Eskimos with a critical first down.
Great effort by Damon Allen, and also in that case Michael Souls. Damon Allen using his speed and his quickness to get outside, elude the pursuit of Winnipeg. Michael Souls having the presence of mind at the last minute. He sees that these Damon's being pressured. All he does is go out, finds an open hole. Damon's able to drop the ball off into him. He's able to pick up the first down, keep the chains moving, keep the clock moving for the Edmonton Eskimos.
First down and 10.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 50.
Winnipeg 50.
Over the middle, and Jay Christensen will get another Edmonton first down.
Jay Christensen, the big slot back from Nogasagan Sun, finding that soft spot. Damon Allen with that naked boot rolling out. Christensen just goes and sets down in that soft spot. Damon's able to deliver him the football and picks up another first down on the drive.
Jay Christensen was cut at training camp, but when the Eskimos brought in Lucius Floyd, they needed a Canadian for the slot back position, and they sent the call out to Kelowna for Jay Christensen to return. Damon Allen for Lucius Floyd, and Floyd makes the catch, and a gain of 4, maybe 5 at the 26-yard line.
Good job as Damon drops back. He's trying to read the zone of Winnipeg, and what he's doing, he's had the backs the block. If nothing's coming, then they release up underneath the zone, and he dumps it off quickly.
Now, Cal Murphy said the difference between Edmonton today and what we experienced in the first 2 regular season games is that Damon is now playing like Damon, and the addition of Lucius Floyd as both a receiver and a runner makes them more dangerous. Damon Allen escapes the pressure, but he's forced out of bounds.
Mixed up in the Edmonton backfield that time, I feel very surely of. Damon comes out, there's a couple of guys get crossed up. His pure speed is what gives him the ability to at least break outside of containment, but then great speed by Greg Battle in pursuit is able to chase Damon Allen out of bounds.
Well, you get Peyton Clark coming off the corner, flushing Allen out of the pocket, but just his great athletic ability, being elusive, it helped him avoid the sack on the play.
Sean Fleming will attempt to restore the Eskimos' 7-point lead. A 36-yard field goal attempt for Sean Fleming. His kicking has improved tremendously from a year ago, and this one is good. 7:20 is the time remaining. The Eskimos leading by a converted touchdown.
Welcome back to Grey Cup 93, the 81st time this championship's been contested. Here's how the game's unfolded. Eskimos struck in the first quarter, 14 points off turnovers. Short run by Floyd, then a short pass to Jim Sandusky to extend the Edmonton lead. The option to Richards got Winnipeg its first major, 24-10 Edmonton at the half, but it's been all Bombers in the second half. Garza took it in for a touchdown, but a field goal by Sean Fleming has the Eskimos back in front by 7, Don.
And that field goal by Fleming, the first points the Eskimos have scored in the second half. Garza gets away from the initial pressure, loses the football, and the Eskimos have got it.
Great relentless pressure by that Edmonton front 7. Daniel Hunter flushed him originally out of the pocket, kept after him, was able to come back, jar him loose from the football, and Edmonton has the ball once again.
You heard if it wasn't for bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. But Sammy Garza, he has already maintained to get outside. He's got a clear field down in front of him. An easy first down that he could have picked up, drops the ball.
You see a happy Daniel Hunter right here celebrating after the big turnover, and that's what you need, defensive players to step up to the forefront. The 6th turnover for Winnipeg tonight.
And it comes at a costly time as the Eskimos have it first and 10, and Eddie Brown makes the catch and gets inside the 10-yard line.
Damon is so quick to strike after the turnover. You want to take advantage of your opponent, maybe at a low point. Damon with his little half roll left finds Eddie Brown on a crossing route underneath. Bobby Evans is chasing him at this point, and he's down inside the 10-yard line.
And that's something you don't want, someone chasing Eddie Brown.
Michael Souls doing a fine job of blocking up front.
Takes the punishment, but that's what you have to do. Just get in somebody's face and slow him up. Give Damon Allen time to do what he does best.
First and goal. And Michael Souls is tackled by Lloyd Lewis with 6 minutes remaining. Chris?
Don, there, the Eskimos right now are without Lucius Floyd. He was knocked cold in the last series. He wanted to go back in. He's trying to shake out the cobwebs, but Dr. Boyko, for the time being, has held him back. So Brian Walling is in the backfield right now with Michael Souls.
Brian Walling, who was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1989 when they won a Grey Cup, said this Edmonton team is very similar to the Roughriders of '89. Damon Allen lobs it into the end zone for Eddie Brown. He can't make the catch. Evans was defending against Eddie Brown, and now Ron Lancaster sends in the field goal unit.
Eddie Brown gets a little help from Jay Christian in the slot as he gets a little pick, and Damon Allen, all he does is lob it up into the corner, and hopefully that Eddie Brown can run underneath it, but no go.
5:23, the time remaining with the clock running. Fleming has been good on 4 of 5 attempts. He's now been good on 5 of 6, and the Eskimos have a 10-point advantage.
Welcome back to Grey Cup 93. McMahon Stadium in the city of Calgary has never looked as good. That's a big-time picture, and assisting CBC Sports with today's aerial coverage, Steel manufactures the #1 chainsaw worldwide. Dave Tomasini at the controls of the chopper. Don's been quite a second half. You have to like the way both quarterbacks have played.
It has been a most entertaining second half, and I think Sammy Garza has silenced all of his critics, those who called him Slingin' Sammy's son-in-law, because of how he plays over the final 4 minutes and 58 seconds. He's done a good job for the Blue Bombers. The pass was intended for David Williams. He was being covered by Damian Lyons. The Eskimos, 30-20, 23 of their points have come as a result of turnovers. And you cannot afford to give a solid defensive team like the Eskimos that many points and hope that you successfully come back. But the Bombers are trying. The pass for Gerald Wilcox.
Good time up front that time. Good blocking. Allows Garza to sprint to the corner, turn around, throw back curl, throws it down where Holland doesn't have any chance to come up and try to knock it out. And Wilcox does an excellent job of making that reception.
Winnipeg, first and 10. The ball is at the 49. Quick pattern to David Williams, and he was hit immediately by Damian Lyons.
Well, right now, Garza is taking what the defense allows him to take. He's not trying to go deep. He's working the short, intermediate routes. The safe passes, the receivers are working back towards the quarterback to get that separation from the corner.
Remember earlier in the game, he ran the pump fake to David Williams and had him wide open down the sideline. Look for something to be set up like that through the course of this fourth quarter.
Alphen and Jackson go to the left. Alphen is the receiver, and he's got a first down. He took it to the 50 and was hit there by Morris Lawler.
Gerald Alphen's second reception of the game, working out in that left flat. Plenty of separation there before Lawler arrives with the big hit, trying to separate him from the football, but he hangs on.
Can't tell you what, great concentration that Alphen had on that with his back to that defender. They're running a cut call where the corner is up in the short zone, the halfback is over top. He knows he's going to get hit, and the young rookie comes up and makes a good stick on Alphen.
Saw Matt Dunnigan signaling to hurry up. There's the throw to Alphen again for a first down at the 25-yard line. Dan Murphy took the feet out from under the Winnipeg slot back. 3 minutes exactly, the time remaining in this first Grey Cup game. Over 50,000 fans at McMahon Stadium have been treated to a very entertaining game, and wherever you're looking in, we hope you're enjoying it. Will it be the Edmonton Eskimos or the Winnipeg Blue Bombers taking that trophy home for the 11th time? The Toronto Argonauts lead in all-time Grey Cup victories with 19, but only 3 of those since 1950. Hamilton has won it 14 times, Winnipeg and Edmonton 10 each. Garza throws into the corner of the end zone. Touchdown! No! Oh, I thought he had it in the corner of the end zone, but he was unable to hang on. David Williams unable to pull in the throw.
All phases of this play are working exactly right. Garza lobs it out there, has plenty of time to throw the ball. There it is, right between the hands of David Williams.
Watch Benny Goods working up hard. Black and Van Conant, McNeil, those guys have been giving Garza time all night long.
On second down, Garza over the middle. Alphen can't hang on. Glenn Rogers was defending against the Winnipeg slotback. 2:47 remaining in the game. Well, the Bombers needed a field goal and a touchdown to tie. They will have an opportunity to move within the touchdown if Troy Westwood is successful with a 33-yard field goal attempt.
You can guarantee if Cal Murphy had his druthers, he'd rather have the 7 points right now and then have to make the field goal in the last minute or last 30 seconds of this ball game.
Westwood is 3 for 3 in the field goal department. 2:44 remaining, and now it's up to the Winnipeg defense if the Bombers hope to get a touchdown and perhaps force overtime. Matt Dunnigan having a career season, sidelined on October 15th with a torn Achilles tendon in a game against Sacramento.
Dan, this is the time of the game when those butterflies start to fly. You're looking at yourself, you're looking at your teammates, you're trying to pull it all together.
Well, you really have to get out there and do exactly what you're doing through the whole course of the game, not worrying about whether it's going to be your fault if you miss a block or miss a tackle. Get out there and play and let the chips fall where they may, because both of these teams have been playing tremendous football today.
Ron Lancaster trying to use the clock. He wants to fall on the ground primarily, I think, but Vaughn Booker was in there and with a punishing hit on Michael Souls, dropping him for a loss of 2.
It's very important that Edmonton comes out and at least try to pick up 4 or 5 yards in a first down situation. When you get into the 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, it makes it very tough.
But the big defensive end from Cincinnati on that slant play, boom, right in the backfield, and he planted Michael Souls.
2nd and 12, Edmonton. 2:26, the time remaining.
Here comes Battle.
Battle coming from the backside, but the pass is complete to Sandusky. Big reception by Jim Sandusky up to the 52-yard line.
When you gamble, you get burned. Jim Sandusky one-on-one, one of the more tactical receivers in the game. They Allen had the time, the blitz was picked up, and he found it.
As you said, the blitz was picked up. The offensive line and Michael Souls doing a great job of picking up the blitz. Sandusky doing a tremendous job of just finding the hole.
You see everybody coming. The O-line is forming a pocket for Damon Allen right here. He's able to come over the top and get rid of the pass.
You saw right at the top of your screen, that was Lucius Floyd and Rod Knopp, both of them taking care of Greg Battle.
Fake to Lucius Floyd. Randolph grabs Damon Allen and throws him out of bounds right at the line of scrimmage with 1:53 remaining. Let's go down to the sidelines. Here's Chris.
Don, in each series, Jim Sandusky consults with Damon Allen. Came over to me before they got on the field, and he says, I guarantee if we get in close, we've got a touchdown that's going to work to either me or Eddie Brown. So Jim's seen something on the field. Let's see if they can make it happen.
Well, the San Diego State product is very astute at what's going on around him at all times, and if anyone can victimize the secondary, he can do it.
Well, Ron Lancaster said it's almost like having another coach with Jim Sandusky studying film and studying the opposition at all times.
And Jim Sandusky has made this whole receiving corps much better by his presence.
Damon Allen for Michael Souls, and Michael Souls gets another important Edmonton first down.
The McGill product circling out of the backfield, working eye in hand with his quarterback, Damon Allen, picking up the first down to keep this drive alive. You'll see an overhead of it right here. Souls out in the flat, able to stay inbounds and pick up the critical first down.
One of the great things about Michael Souls as a running back is that he's able to give you that limp leg, and he does it very, very naturally, as he just did on Randolph Penn. Gave him the limp leg, the defender slid through it, Michael Souls was able to pick up the first down.
First and 10, the ball is at the 46. Michael Souls is getting a lot of work since Lucius Floyd was shaken up. They're relying more and more on the McGill product. Ron Lancaster, twice in the Western Final, saw his team go down to defeat last year and the year before in the final minute to the Calgary Stampeders. This year, his team was in control early in the third quarter. His team has been in control of the Grey Cup game since the first quarter. He's looking for his first Grey Cup triumph as a coach.
And to go along with that as a player.
Damon Allen steps up inside, and Damon Allen with a big run, and that could pretty much put this one away as he gets down to the 11-yard line. There's also a penalty flag down at the 19.
I think it could be a forward lateral on Damon Allen that time. He broke through. It's really an undisciplined play by Damon Allen. All he's got to do is hold on to the ball and at least go down. You pick up the first down. But he caught Winnipeg in an all-out blitz, came back on the quarterback draw. All he had to do was break the initial line of attack, and then he's running right into the secondary. They picked up the flag, so obviously there wasn't a penalty.
What it is a wave off. They thought that Damon was pitching the ball out of bounds, and the official came up to alert him that Eddie Brown was on the side of him.
Lancaster was most disappointed with his first stint as a coach in the CFL with Saskatchewan. Mike Souls, the ball carrier, he won only 2 games in each of his Saskatchewan coach after a great career as a coach. And during the 10 years he worked with me in the broadcast booth, he was always anxious, I think, to return to the sidelines as a head coach and redeem himself.
Well, Don, it was probably, it was the most difficult coaching in Saskatchewan with all the success he had there as a player and the high expectations of those fans, but I think he's redeemed himself this evening.
It's tough to coach when you just lost your best quarterback, and that was him.
40 seconds remaining. Damon Allen rolling out, following some blocking, and Damon Allen will get down to the 5-yard line. Forced out by Errol Brown, but only 33 seconds remain.
Damon Allen strutting it. He's played with a lot of confidence over the past month, and it showed here in his leadership this evening in the Grey Cup.
First and goal for the Eskimos. Damon Allen drives straight ahead. 31 seconds remaining. Very balanced attack that Ron Lancaster devised for this Grey Cup game. 31 rushing plays, 30 passes, and a timeout has been called by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Could not believe last week coming off of the Western Final against Calgary, the amount of emotion that I saw in Coach Lancaster's face down as he was being interviewed by Mark Blake. Just tremendous, big crocodile tears being held back. He is a terrific champion and a gentleman.
Well, he told me that he was very emotional last week. He said he desperately wanted to get to the Grey Cup game as a coach, and he has made it, and it looks as though he is going to achieve his objective. Damon Allen keeps, in mid-season, there were some people in Edmonton very critical of Ron Lancaster. As a matter of fact, some media people were suggesting that maybe he should be fired as the head coach, but Huey Campbell, the general manager, persevered.
He answered it very abruptly. He just says, forget it. It was over with. They could have done it. If they wanted to fire me, they could have fired me. That was yesterday. This is today. This is right now. And this is where I am. And this is where the Edmonton Eskimos are.
The second straight disappointing year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Clock running with 20 seconds remaining. The ball is at the 2-yard line. They can take it down to 8 seconds before they have to run a play. And I think they're going to let it go right down.
The ball will be turned. Winnipeg will take possession because it was on 3rd down, but they have 108 yards of pay dirt to work against Don, and you're going to see one of the best prevent defenses you've ever seen in your life right here.
The Edmonton Eskimos have used 6 defensive backs all year in defending against the pass. And unless Sammy Garza has some sort of miracle in his bag of tricks, Ron Lancaster has won his first Grey Cup as a head coach after a brilliant playing career. Seconds remaining on the clock.
19-yard field goal.
Sean Fleming will be attempting a field goal from the 19-yard line. The Eskimos let the clock run right down, and this one will put it away.
Eskimos 33, the Bombers 23.
Eskimos with a 33-23 lead and 6 seconds remaining on the clock. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers from the 35-yard line. And the Edmonton Eskimos coming into this Grey Cup game as favorites and live to advance billing. The sidelines, gets away from one tackle, and then Williams is hauled down. The ball comes loose, and the Eskimos have recovered, and that's it. Ron Lancaster and the Edmonton Eskimos are 1993 Grey Cup champions. In the opening quarter took advantage of Winnipeg turnovers, and that basically was the ball game because the Bombers had a tremendous hill to try and climb, and that's a difficult chore against a tough defense. Let's go down to Chris Cuthbert.
Here he is, the winning coach in the Grey Cup '93. How does that sound?
Well, I'll tell you, it's good. Guys earned it. They played hard. I give a lot of credit to Winnipeg. That is one tough football team, but it just was our day-to-day, and we're very happy.
Hey, your guys had a gut check second half.
Yeah, they sure did. Keep battling, man. The game is 60 minutes, and you got to play them.
Thoughts on Damon Allen?
Well, hey, what can you say? He got us a Grey Cup win, right? No quarterback in September, but he's a Grey Cup champion, and I hope he sticks around a while.
So are you, Ronnie. Congratulations. Let's join Mark Lee.
Thanks, Chris, and I'm standing here at center field with Damon Allen, the victorious quarterback today. Damon, you endured a lot of criticism this season. You get the last laugh.
Yeah, but I'm not going to try to stick it in. The main thing, the guys believed in me. Eventually, things came around on offense, and our defense played really well. And I just think that I came out here healthy, and we won the Grey Cup. We reached our goal.
You sure did. Not only did you win the Grey Cup, you are the most valuable player, and that has to be satisfying, because there were times today when it looked like you were pinned in the backfield, but you made your way out with amazing agility.
Well, in a game like this, you got to try to use everything that you have, and there's no question they're a tough defensive unit, and they gave us some problems, and they had a little momentum, but we just bared down in the last fourth quarter and came through. And like, once again, I just thank the Lord for I come out here healthy, and it gave me the opportunity to do some good things today.
And to say the least, you were opportunist today. 23 points, capitalizing on Bomber turnovers.
Well, in a game like this, when two teams are evenly matched, it's always a game of turnovers. It's what team take advantage of the turnovers. We did today, and that's why we won.
Damon, congratulations.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Let's go to Scott Oak.
Chris, this week, as part of Grey Cup festivities, they named the CFL's all-time greatest team. Ron Lancaster selected at quarterback, and now to make his week complete, he has his first Grey Cup win as a coach. The Edmonton Eskimos, who get to the West Final every year and often beyond, have gone all the way this time. The winning tradition of the organization continues, and the celebration is on. Back now in Calgary, where the Eskimos have just laid claim to the 81st Grey Cup championship. This Grey Cup is for the city of Edmonton, which can once again claim to be the city of champions. 6 years between Grey Cup wins, and so the Eskimos almost certainly cannot wait to take this cup north to Edmonton. Got a chance now to get some comments from our game day analyst. Doug, you made a very interesting point, I thought, during the second half when you said the Eskimos in the last part of the season did not beat themselves in any game, and they certainly did not today.
They didn't. They turned the ball over a couple of times, but their defense creates turnovers. Their offense takes advantage of it, and they stick the ball in the end, and it was Damon Allen's athletic ability, the bottom line of sticking the ball in the end zone.
Dave, under the category of beating a dead horse, which is our specialty in this business, they could not contain Damon Allen when they had to, and you made an interesting point about that. You said they can't stop Damon Allen by putting a defensive end on him. He's not fast enough. They should be using a linebacker.
They should have been bringing the linebacker out, or try to bring the linebacker out on him. The last drive, I guess, they just took it right down the field. They deserved to win. They played a great game here when they needed to, and the turnovers hurt both teams a little bit, but they took more advantage of them.
You cannot give a team 23 points in turnovers in a championship game, or any game for that matter, can you?
Especially Edmonton's defense. They probably are the best defense in the league, and definitely the most difficult for us to move the ball against.
Okay, just behind our booth here in the south end zone of McMahon Stadium, Mark Lee has waded into the crowd, and he's going to try and bring some order to the presentation of the Grey Cup. Mark?
All right, thank you, Scott. We've got Bedlam here as the Eskimos move to the south end of the stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now to decorate the 1993 champions of the Canadian Football League, the Edmonton Eskimos. And here to make the presentation is CFL Commissioner Larry Smith. Larry?
To the Edmonton Eskimos, you are very deserving of the 1993 Grey Cup as Canada's champion.
Well, a very proud moment for Ron Lancaster and his Edmonton Eskimo players. And you can see the tears streaming down the face of Ron Lancaster after those two very disappointing years as the Saskatchewan Roughriders, when he only won 2 games in each of those years. And then he came into the broadcast booth. As I said earlier, all that time, I always had the feeling he wanted to get back to the sidelines. But Dan, as you said, when he took over as coach, Lancaster as quarterback.
It was really hard to fill that position for him, and not all great athletes make good coaches. I believe firmly that Coach Lancaster is a good coach, as he proved today.
Well, there were people in Edmonton earlier this year who were very critical of Ron Lancaster as a coach, but he stuck with his players. He supported them all the way, and now they have made it 8 in a row, 8 consecutive wins after a humiliation at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton to these same Winnipeg Blue Bombers on the 6th of September, and they haven't looked back.
I think he found sanctuary within himself. He confided with he and his coaching staff. They decided which direction that they wanted to go after the first couple of games when they had all the disarray about the quarterback controversy, the team not being consistent. They settled down. The Sacramento game that we had mentioned earlier, they told Damon, this is yours to win and lose, and he went out and won the game. The team got on a roll from that point, and everyone else responded.
Well, I think that's the great thing. What the coaches decide is one thing, but what those guys right there on your screen right now decided for themselves is the only thing that mattered through the course of this season.
The jubilation of winning a championship, Dan, you went through it on many occasions. Players can never relive that moment because for most players who never get an opportunity to enjoy that, I mean, you relish this the rest of your life.
And Dan, you live in the city of Edmonton. This will be a boost to civic pride. Things haven't been that great in the city of champions for the last couple of years.
Well, they can tell you right now, those guys in green and gold have done their share, and they've done their part right now. So it's up to some of the other teams that are in that city to follow up to it. But for right now, just wallow in it, savor it, and enjoy it for as much as you can. You may not ever get there again, but for right now, you're there, you're the champions.
Well, for the second time, the Grey Cup game played in Calgary, won by the Eskimos. Mark?
Don, he passed for 201 touchdown, completing 16 of 27 passes. The most outstanding player of the 1993 Grey Cup is Damon Allen, quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. And here to make the presentation is Yves Landry, president of Chrysler Canada.
Congratulations on a great game and a great performance. And I'm glad to present to you the keys to a Dodge truck, a Ram truck, the best in the business, I assure you. And you too will realize that the rules have changed. You've got the new generation of trucks.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, I appreciate it. I'd like to just thank my teammates. They believed in me all year long, and they gave me the opportunity to come out here and play as hard as I can.
Damon, congratulations.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Damon Allen, the most valuable player of this 1993 Grey Cup. Scott?
Okay, Mark, so the Eskimos have their first Grey Cup win since 1987, and Ron Lancaster, who gave up a higher calling on TV to return to coaching, has his first Grey Cup ring as a coach, and I would say that Damon Allen finally has respect at long last. We'll return with more post-game festivities in just a moment. So Edmonton still produces winners. Some Eskimo teams have had a hard job living up to the standard set by the dynasty from 78 to 82, but this one, led by Damon Allen, has measured up. The most outstanding Canadian player in the game is Edmonton field goal kicker Sean Fleming. 6 field goals. He has tied a record set by Don Sweet and equaled by Paul Osbaldiston several years back. And Mark Lee is standing by with Sean.
Thank you, Scott. And I'd like to call upon Alistair Patterson, the Vice President of Sales for North America for Canadian Airlines International, to make the presentation to the most outstanding Canadian of this football game, Sean Fleming.
Sean, on behalf of Canadians, I'd like to present 2 tickets to any destination that Canadian flies to in the world. On behalf of Canadian, again, congratulations on being selected as the most outstanding Canadian in the game today.
There you go. Any idea where you want to go, Sean?
I'll take a while to think about it. First off, I'd like to thank my teammates, my family, and you know, it was an exciting game, and I'd also like to congratulate Calgary on hosting this great event. They did a great job, so you guys should be proud.
And Sean, not only do you win a Grey Cup, but your 6 field goals ties the CFL record. That must feel pretty good.
Well, it's always great when you can contribute, and you know, I was very fortunate tonight to help our team out, and I don't know, I'm speechless. It's been a lot of fun.
Way to go.
Thanks very much.
Sean Fleming, the outstanding Canadian of this 1993 Grey Cup. Scott?
Okay, Mark, and so an amazing journey to this Grey Cup victory by the Eskimos, 6-3 at midseason. Then they lost 3 of 4, then won 5 straight to finish the year, and now they have won it all. And Chris Cuthbert has waded into the fray in the victorious Eskimos locker room. Chris?
Well, Scott, I thought appropriate that we talked to Rod Connop first. He was the link with the great dynasty teams, and you're back on top again.
Yeah, and it feels so sweet, especially for an old guy like me. I don't know when I'm ever going to get back to this Grey Cup again. Got this one, and I'm just going to savor that for right now.
Well, you got there in 1990, and I know the memories weren't very good, so you have a tone.
It was same Winnipeg team, I guess. It wasn't really the motivating factor. We just, we're an entirely different team, and we just focused week in and week out on just being a little bit better and taking it right to the Grey Cup.
You took it all the way, Rod. Congratulations. We're going to turn over to Michael Souls, who played a critical role in the second half, and I hope I'm not telling any stories out of school. A lot of emotion on the sidelines. I saw a few tears.
Oh, definitely. You know, I've been in the league for 5 years, and I'm not saying I'm about to retire or anything, but you don't get for too many opportunities. 90, and we didn't follow through on that, and it's just such a great feeling. And this team was phenomenal the way they came together. It's an unbelievable feeling to see something like that, to see a team just gel like our team did.
I sense that it might have been slipping away there in the second half, and then you rose up in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think our defense played all game again, like they have all year, and fourth quarter that were key. Damon made some incredible plays and kept some drives alive. Allowed us to go kick some field goals and force them to score twice.
Great job, Michael. Willie Pless, come on in.
Thanks very much.
One of the great defensive players in CFL history.
Our emotions are high, and we give thanks to the Lord, of course, and the players fought hard. At times it's like we was going to let it slip away, but we have some big plays come up, and we're going to bring that cup back to Edmonton.
Did you expect that many turnovers today? It was a game of turnovers.
Well, it was a game of turnovers, and fortunate for us, we got the better end of that, and that's not the important thing. The important thing is we won this game, and we have the cup.
Willie, congratulations. I'm going to call up your boss, Hugh Campbell. Hugh, go on up for a few thoughts. I've lost count. How many rings for you now?
I think it's 8. I won as a player and maybe 7 others.
The game I remember mid-season was the second loss to Winnipeg. How did this team put it back together so effectively?
Well, that was our last loss. I think the big thing here is that this football team kept growing, as did Winnipeg's. I admire what Cal Murphy has done with that team. He, like us, shifted kind of the attitude of the team. They were almost twin football teams. I know it hurt him losing Matt, but I thought Sam played a heck of a game. I think even Matt would have to say that Winnipeg played about as good as they would have played with Matt in there. I congratulate Cal and Joyce and that whole organization over there. I know what the wives go through in both organizations.
Hugh, congratulations. We've got Glenn Harper behind the camera, and Jim Sandusky's going to come up.
Okay.
Jimmy Sandusky, come on up. Well, you called a touchdown that didn't happen, but you scored one that did, and that was even more important.
Hey, it was great. I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for everything. This was a great victory for us. We deserved it. Came from some adversity through the middle of the season. Coaches were under fire, players were under fire, and we came through.
Well, they're showing the touchdown. We can't see it in here, but is that one of your play calls? Because I know you have a lot of input into the offense.
Well, I didn't have the call play, but I told Eddie to come out and stack it. That's where we were getting front and back, and I knew that it would probably screw them up, that they'd either go both with me or both with Eddie, and so I just wheeled behind him and then came underneath, and I guess he went with Eddie. I don't know what happened.
We got to go quick, but did you break your collarbone 2 weeks ago? What's the status of that?
I re-injured it pretty bad, and I had to get it shot up, and but it was worth taking the chance of breaking it again.
All worth it now. Scott?
Chris, the Eskimos say they don't talk much about it, but every one of them knows all about the great Edmonton teams of years past, career Eskimos like Larry Ruck and Blake Dermott and Rod Connop. The last holdover from the dynasty of 78 to 82 really know what this win means. The Eskimos win by 10 to reverse the outcome of the 1990 Grey Cup. Final score means the Grey Cup is headed north to Edmonton, 33-23. A full moon in Calgary on a glorious evening, but, as far as I know, I don't think CFL expansion plans yet call for a franchise on the moon. When you think about it, how much it means for an athlete to win it all is something else that I'm not sure we can know how much even being in this game today meant to Cal Murphy, and Mark Lee is with him.
Thank you, Scott, and needless to say, it's subdued here in the Bomber locker room. And Cal, I guess when you allow 23 points as the result of turnovers, it's pretty hard to come back.
Yeah, the big thing, though, I think, was we gave up in the first half as a result of a couple of fumbles and, you know, the snap over the head, that type of thing, but the penalties as well. And, you know, there were a couple other things that should have gone our way that didn't go our way, and there's no sense talking about them.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I would think there were a couple of PIs, but, you know, well, no, I have to give the Eskimos credit. They played a good football game. I think it was a good football game for the crowd, and there weren't few people out there that thought we could come back and take it within a whisker.
Well, Cal, you had a heck of a season, 14 wins, ties a franchise record, and our condolences today, and congratulations for a great season.
Okay, and thank you, and congratulations to the Eskimos.
Thanks, Cal. Let's go to Chris.
Mark, a couple of great Canadian football players with the Eskimos. Randy Ambrosie, a native of Winnipeg, winning his first Grey Cup. Your thoughts?
Well, it's unbelievable. It's a dream of a lifetime. This is why you play in 9 years and some highs and some lows, and tonight the ultimate high, being a Grey Cup champion with these guys. And you got to love the Edmonton Eskimos because we battled all year long. We took some highs, took some lows, and now we're the king of the hill.
I thought the champagne was bad, but that smoke's even worse. They're cheering in Saskatoon, Larry.
They are. And I want to say hi to everybody back there. Everybody back in Edmonton, too. We're bringing it home for you.
All right, Larry Ruck and Randy Ambrosie in a delighted Eskimo dressing room as we go back to the sky.
Chris, Larry Ruck, legally blind in one eye. He's one of the great stories in the CFL. And today, in it for the 12th time in 20 years, the Eskimos have won the Cup. Well, the 50,000 fans who saw a good ball game at McMahon Stadium today are on their way home, and the Grey Cup is on its way to the city of Edmonton. In each of the last 2 years, the Eskimos were kept out of this Grey Cup game by last-minute Calgary wins, but they're in it now, and they've won it. And let's go to Chris Cuthbert.
Well, Scott, we're with Ron Lancaster again. I wanted to give him a couple digest it. Is this the moment that brought you back to the coaching ranks?
Oh, yeah, I don't think there's any coach or player ever plays this league doesn't think that this is where you want to be at the end of November, and it was a great week. Calgary put on a good show. The Winnipeg Bombers, a good football team. Just wasn't to be today. It was our day.
Nice family affair. I know you had Bobby on the sidelines and Ronnie Jr. up in the booth.
Yeah, and Ronnie came in to watch secondary for Adam, and Bob worked with Dwayne on the sideline. The sad part is my granddaughter Brittany and my grandson Mark aren't here.
Yeah, I know he's watching right now. Here we go. I thought it was going to be a dry celebration.
It almost was.
Ronnie, you came a long way in 8 weeks.
Yeah, great job. I mean, the players sucked it up in September when things were tough, and they hung through that. When you hang through tough times, the good people deserve good times, and they're reaping them right now, and they deserve every minute of it.
Guys like Blake Marshall, too. Let's go to Scott Oak.
Okay, Chris, and there were some people who wanted to ride Ron Lancaster out of the city of Edmonton at about mid-season, so he and his team looked awfully good today in response. Final comments now from our game day analyst. Doug, I thought, were you playing today?
He did a tremendous job. He made plays when their back was against the wall in the second half and they needed to move the football just with sheer athletic ability. He threw a couple nice completions in there, but there were some plays where Winnipeg, for all intents and purposes, should have gotten the ball back, but he didn't let him.
Dave, no question, the Edmonton Eskimos deserve this Grey Cup on the strength of brilliant coaching.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Give you a chance here to plug one of your colleagues.
I think Ron did a great job. I don't know all the things that happened in Edmonton, but being a coach, I understand all the things that could happen to you, and I think that he did a great job bringing them back, and Damon did a great job regrouping there in the middle of the year.
What was the key to the game for the Eskimos?
I definitely believe it's the turnovers plus the way Damon played. All his athletic ability, just getting free, pass to Souls when they had it pretty well covered, and I think that just kept the drive going, and Damon just took the ball down the field.
Celebration continues in the Edmonton locker room. Doug, you heard all the talk this week. Damon Allen saying he's never got the respect he deserves. Does he have it now?
He's earned respect from defensive players across the league, no question about it, because he creates their running game. By his bootleg action, he draws linebackers with him. He makes people respect that, and it helps the running game.
Thank you both for your comments today. Appreciate it. Let's go to the booth now and get some final thoughts from Don, James, and Dan.
Thank you, Scott. Well, Damon Allen did, as Dave Ritchie said, a couple of key things late in the ball game. Winnipeg desperately needed the ball, but Damon wouldn't give it to them.
Well, that's the thing that Damon can do. He really likes to be in charge. He likes to have the responsibility fall on him, and when he does, he's had great success over the past 8 weeks.
Well, Damon was upset this week because some people said he was inconsistent. I think he puts all those comments to rest now, James.
He does. He puts all those comments to rest. He played a tactful game this evening with the running and the passing. He kept that Winnipeg linebacking core off balance, and as we've known over the year, that is the key to their defensive consistency. When those guys can't make the big plays, Edmonton offense had an easy game today.
A very balanced attack for the Edmonton Eskimos, almost equal running and passing. And you know, started up in Edmonton, and it finishes with the Edmonton Eskimos winning the Grey Cup. There were times during when it didn't look as though the Eskimos would be playing here at McMahon Stadium.
Well, they certainly didn't. I think a lot of people lost faith in them. A lot of people had written the coaches off, the players off. The one thing that they forgot to do was talk to the players about it. The players didn't write themselves off. They certainly showed what they can do when they have confidence in themselves.
That is always the key, the resilience of the players. When all is said and done, once they pull together as individuals, a lot of times they'll even lock coaches out of the room and go for it on their own.
So the Eskimos are Grey Cup champions, and right now, let's go back to Scott Oak.
All right, Don, a sweet victory for the Eskimos, who by their own admission had no offense on Labor Day, and personally sweet for principal characters in it like Ron Lancaster and Damon Allen.